Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a presentation re the Hotel Victoria development here this evening before our planning meeting. So I'm going to hand straight over to the people doing the presentation. Thank you.
So firstly, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Introductions first. I've met some of you before. David Jobbins, I'm the planning consultant from Luke & Beck, acting on behalf of the hotel. Thank you.
And my name is Steve Jolly. I'm a director at Marengo Communications, helping manage stakeholder engagement and public consultation on behalf of Nicholas James Group. Here, Drew, over to you.
Hello, I'm Drew Rintmore, and I'm the managing director of the Nicholas James Group.
Should we do a whip round as well? Hi, I'm Councillor Sarah Thompson. I'm Chair for Planning and Licensing.
Sandy Carter, Vice Chair of Planning.
Margaret North, Town Councillor.
Councillor Brooke, Town Councillor.
Joanna Kenny, Town Councillor and Cornwall Councillor for the area.
Lamorna Spry, Town Councillor.
And Gillian Trumbull, Town Councillor.
Wonderful. Over to you guys.
So what we're going to do is we're going to run you through a presentation, a brief presentation, because I'm particularly keen on any Q&As you may have anyway. That's my focus, really. But I'd just like to start, a reminder, we came to see you some time ago after the hotel had just been acquired. I would like to restate, I'm very, very pleased that the Nicholas James Group have bought the hotel because they are hoteliers. They focus their attention on 4- and 5-star hotels. And generally it's in older, lovely buildings like the Hotel Victoria. So I'm personally very pleased to be working alongside them. The intention here is to save the Hotel Victoria. It's a beautiful building, but it's in an extremely poor state of repair. And we were walking around it today, and trust me, it is incredibly dilapidated inside. I don't think it's too unfair to say it's been rather neglected, and it's rather old. So what the intention is to bring it back to life, to make it a vibrant place as an asset to the town, which it currently isn't, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is just run you through some slides, and apologies if you know a lot of this already, but just starting, if you wouldn't mind, Duncan, we all know the site. It's an absolute gem. It's in the centre of town, or it's near as, it's close to the station, etc., and it's just a beautiful site, in the main, I should say. And then next slide, please. So again, apologies, but you'll be familiar with the hotel itself. Splendid, I would say, but very much in need of TLC. And then surrounding it, you've got some, let's say, less attractive buildings. I know some of you are perhaps more attached to some of them than others, but the intention is to remove all but the hotel from the site and replace it with residential. What I should say is the residential, that basically saves the hotel, because it means that we can invest heavily in the hotel and it saves it for future generations. And I say that sincerely, and the Nicholas James Group have done that time and time again with other hotels. Padstow, I don't know if you're familiar with the Metropole, if you're familiar with the Porthminster, I could go on. There's 15 hotels in the Harbour Hotel Group, and the same people around this table basically preserve those hotels. There is inevitably some enabling developments that goes alongside it. So again, I won't spend too much time on these. There's the existing site. Again, you're all familiar with it, surrounded by some lovely and less lovely buildings. And again, next slide, please. So you may recall, I'm sure you will, this is an extract from your own Newquay Town Development Framework Plan, if I've got that right. And that looks at the Hotel Victoria, seeks its retention, but also looks at development where the Griffin is. So I just really bring that up just to remind you that even the Newquay Town Centre framework envisaged some form of redevelopment of this site. Okay, so thank you. And yeah, so this was an earlier scheme, nothing to do with us. This was on the site of the Griffin. I think you are all familiar with it. And thankfully, in my view, it never went ahead. So I just wanted to throw that up because for me, that's rather ugly. And I'm particularly pleased that that did not happen. Hopefully, you may agree with me. What we're going to do now, I'm going to hand over to Steve. He's going to talk about the public exhibition. Some of you may have come along to explain how that was received. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. So yes, this is an image from our public consultation event that we held back in June, on the 23rd of June. So we wrote to around 600 properties immediately adjacent to the hotel, but obviously issued press releases, and Facebook did what Facebook does, and we had a very good turnout of around 260 odd people across the day, as well as BBC Spotlight, Radio Newquay, BBC Radio Cornwall. We were on Cornwall Live, so there was a lot of people found out about our plans to save the hotel. That was the beginning of a consultation process that we carried out, and this kind of went alongside pre-application with Cornwall Council and also a design review panel. So kind of the three worked in tandem of gaining feedback on the proposals. We managed the public consultation, and all of that information has been submitted alongside all the other planning documents in what's called a statement of community involvement, which I do encourage you to go and look at, because it really in a lot of detail does talk about the consultation process we carried out, what people said, and our responses to those either positive things they were saying or some concerns they raised. The headline, as far as we were concerned, was that 92% of people who gave us feedback were supportive of the retention and refurbishment of the hotel. And that was really great to see. Everyone understood that they wanted a hotel, particularly in a lot of conversations I had at that end of the town, would really help regenerate part of Newquay, create jobs, and bring a bit of life back to an area of the town that some people feel has been a bit left behind. So that, in a nutshell, is where we are in terms of consultation. People were very happy about it. There were concerns raised, and I'm sure those questions will come up after the presentation, which we're really keen to have a conversation about, whether it's parking or other questions, because we've got answers. But that's where we are. Dave, over to you to talk about the plans.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm going to run through the scheme itself. Like I said, I'd like to focus very much on any questions you may have afterwards, but as Steve's already said, we've discussed this heavily with Design Review Panel, with Cornwall Council, Historic England were also consulted, and they thankfully have no objections to the proposals. But what you see here is obviously the Hotel Victoria retained, Senior Dix, bless it, is gone, the Griffin has gone, and then Clifton Villa has also been removed, and there's a rather tired building at the back of the site, the dwelling there, and that's replaced with a number of apartment buildings with car parking, and of course the centrepiece will be the hotel. So again, if you wouldn't mind moving on to the next one. This is just a ground floor plan of the same site plan, just shows you where the parking arrangements are, and what you can't see, the building on the right hand side, which is next to the Travel Lodge, that's got Undercroft car parking as well, so this is not showing all the car parking on the site. It is a delicate balance. If you were to speak to somebody at Cornwall Council, they'd say they don't want any parking on the site. I'm sure if I spoke to members here or members of the public, they'd want lots more parking on the site. We are obviously in a very sustainable location, close to the train station, walkable, cycling, etc., etc. But that's just the site plan, but again, it's showing hopefully to you that the hotel is really the gem of the site. And you can see that the two apartment buildings either side are intentionally set back from the front of the hotel. And
Sorry,
you'll see in a moment,
could I just say, could you point out where your Undercroft parking is? Sorry.
Excuse me, not at all. So, I'm happy to point if you're happy for me to point. So the existing access here, you drop down, there's this what romantically called a French square at the back. It's a lower level, but then this carries on underneath this building, so there's also parking and servicing here as well. Okay. And then the cycle parking, and there's also some feral bikes provision included in the proposals, and a travel plan submitted with the application. So that really just shows you the parking arrangements and the new buildings themselves. If we go to the next slide, please. Thank you. This is the landscape framework. Again, we've been discussing heavily with Cornwall Council. We're very sensitive to the fact it's a relatively hostile environment for landscaping. So the tree officer is particularly keen to understand not only the type of planting, but also what standard they will be, the depth of tree pits, etc. And equally, we want this to survive. We don't want to be replacing these trees and landscaping features every year. It's important to us that we get it right as well. That obviously has a dual function with ecology and biodiversity. I think it's fair to say that the French square, as I've called it, that's set at a lower level, so it's not going to get the harshest of winds in that climate. There is also a wind study that's been submitted with the application, because again, I think it's something that you may have raised last time. There's also a coastal erosion report, because we do fully understand in our own interests that is very, very important. I think I'm right in saying that the tram line forms a sort of defence line, if I can call it that. We're obviously not breaching that. but nonetheless there is a coastal vulnerability report that is being or has been reviewed, and it's clear we've got to get that right. So that's the landscape master plan. Now, coming on to the hotel itself, once refurbed and renovated, you'll see either side of it are the 2 apartment buildings. On the left is the one where Senior Dix currently stands, and on the right, Clifton Villa. Both those buildings would be set back, and as you can see, they're dramatically lower, or significantly lower than the existing hotel building. A design review panel gave us, I wouldn't say they gave us a hard time, but they certainly scrutinised this very heavily. We've followed, I'd say, entirely their advice in terms of the design and the verticality to try and reflect the verticality of the hotel and the very sort of distinct proportions there. And again, these really show the gaps that are created in between the new buildings and also the lowering in the height, which the other unfortunate scheme, if I can call it that, on the Griffin, I don't think respected anything, quite frankly. So if you could show the next slide, please. Again, this is just a bit more detail. It brings it a little bit more to life. This shows the building to the right-hand side of the hotel with the gap that's created there, and also the landscape frontage that we want to create. And you can just see there the undercroft that goes below the building. Now we get on to perhaps a bit more sexy images. This is CGIs showing from the opposite side of the road. There's a bus stop there. Again, obviously Senior Dix has gone. The building on the left is set back, so the hotel really is taking the prominence there, and you can see on the distance there the other apartment building. This is on the opposite side of the road to the Victoria. I'm sure we could have taken it from the same side and you wouldn't have seen the building in the backdrop there. Next one, please. Thank you. This is now coming towards the Victoria from the station, and again, as you can see, very pronounced forward and a lovely restored hotel with a landscape frontage being reintroduced. And again, we followed some of the historic photos that we've got by introducing the railings, the stone walling, and again, the soft edge to the site, which it lacks at the moment. And the next one. And now this is the corner building. This is next to the Travelodge, replacing the Griffin, which, again, I like the Griffin, but it's on its day, let's say, and it turns its back on the tramway, and there's not a lot of activity except sort of far back into the site. This is making the best use of the corner by introducing ground floor activity. That could be a cafe, restaurant, food and drink shop, whatever it might be, with the apartments above which are intentionally tiered back. And again, that was something Design Review Panel were very keen to see. But again, bringing activity, natural surveillance into the street there, we think is quite important. And I think that is it for the moment. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll open it up to my colleagues first. Go for it, Lamora.
Will you be restoring the lift?
You betcha.
Oh.
I mean, if I can just ramble on a bit longer. I mean, for us, that is absolute brilliant. I mean, to have that ready-made, if you like, is so unique. I've not seen it in any other hotel. So, yes, very much so.
So on the lift, as you know, I am seriously concerned about that. I think all we can do is ask the, not because of the lift, not because of your part of the cliff, but the weakness on either side. And you know we've had that massive fall, 8, 10 years ago. And I think I wouldn't get in it.
I don't disagree, but obviously the lift exists, it's a hotel, and it's how we manage the thing as well. And I totally agree with you. I think safety is paramount, isn't it? But we think it's such a unique feature. It would be such a shame not to use it. Thank you.
Jay?
Yeah, related point actually. It's about cliff stability. So you've quite rightly said that it's everybody's interest to protect the cliffs, and of course that is true. All I think I really want to do is sort of name just how sensitive building near cliffs is, not from an emotional perspective for the town. If you are aware of the debacle over in the Whipside area of the Paradise Cove Hotel, building work, in my view, was directly responsible for multiple cliff collapses. Okay, so I'm sure that your building team will be looking at all of the cliff stability issues anyway, but I just think it's really, really important to name that as a major concern of the town. So whatever building schedule that you're planning, to minimise percussion, so that in order to maximise cliff stability and minimise erosion. Those things are really, really important. I'm not a technical expert on this, but I just wanted to make sure that that is front and centre of the town's concerns. Okay.
You're absolutely right. And like percussive piling, for example, I would imagine, I would fully expect Cornwall Council to impose conditions in this instance, given the sensitivity of it all. I totally agree with you. Thank you.
So, okay.
Let's ask the question.
Well, I couldn't give you the exact meterage, but obviously, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's coming to the concern that I have, actually. I don't randomly go on the phone, I'm Google Earthing. So I've just measured this. So the concern I have then is your northwestern corner of your understory of the car parking underneath the Griffin, is if you're going to fill that complete area up, that corner is just 29 metres from the cliff edge. So yeah. So if you've got that one. So, can you get, if you go from, so is your understory parking, is it that footprint of the building completely? Because I have concerns for it this corner. I'm sort of like, if it can be not the whole, because that point there is just 29 metres to the top of the cliff there. Now, when they started doing the car parking underneath the Premier Inn, they had to stop because of the damage that they were conscious that was going through that would be underneath the road. So even though you're thinking that the tram lines protect, but what you're doing be drilling down, that shock waves of coming out are going to go underneath the tram lines, and the cliff is right there. So, I mean, for me, if it isn't the full extent of the building, I'd be a lot happier from you digging down. That is sort of a concern that I have in terms of by the cliff edge. Do you want to come back on that, Joanna, at all?
The point is well made.
Okay. Okay.
I was going to ask Liz about the attenuation tanks.
Yes. So that has also been raised by somebody else talking to me in terms of they've gone through all of your plans and things, and there doesn't seem to be any grey water attenuation tanks. There is somewhere, is there, in the plans?
Yeah, there are 3 attenuation tanks, and effectively they are underneath this car parking area here.
Right.
And underneath these car parking areas here.
Okay, so again, that corner is going to be quite close to that and there. So for me, yeah. So if they can be, anything digging underground, and when they dug out Senor Dix, I think from memory they hit the water table. I think it filled up with water, just as a warning. And I mean, that was a long time ago. And they also had the same problem with the apartment block over Tesco's, that filled up with water and with their car park underground. So just something that I'm alerting you to. Yeah, so you have big attenuation tanks. Are you going to be using a grey water system at all for toilets? Which would be wonderful if you are, or storing some of it for use for watering the grounds.
Yes. Yeah. At the moment, what there is, there's a drainage report on an outline drainage system. Okay. It's not been fully designed yet, okay. But obviously there's a balance between what we need to provide in order to achieve the targets that are set by Cornwall Council and to make something that actually works. At the moment, it looks like there is going to be a grey water system of some kind in there. Okay. And just obviously on the coastal erosion, the percussion, that sort of, obviously we've done quite a heavy report, and we've actually done 3 large boreholes and we've gone down 25 metres to check where the water table
Yeah,
is, to check
yeah.
where the rock is, check the condition of it. And separately, we've also done a LiDAR drone survey of the cliff face to understand, because it was only, I think, about 12 months ago that the perimeter of the coastal erosion zone was moved. It came from 10 metres to 20 metres.
Yeah.
And effectively, we've got nothing that sits
Yeah.
within, there's existing buildings that sit within that, but no new build within that. But your point's very well taken. That there are elements that I'm hopeful we won't need piling, because there is a substantial strata down there that could actually deal with sort of a ground-bearing foundation rather than some piling on there.
Okay.
But, that needs to be finally dealt with.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Sorry, can I just, okay, is it to do with that, Joanna? Okay.
I mean, when you say you've got swimming pool, I think, which does fall to certain measurements.
So the existing building does? Yes.
So it's, so what you're basically saying is, it's what you're doing is replacing what is there as opposed to trying to extend.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
I think the new build is outside of the line. Sorry.
Yeah. The other query I had from somebody is, are you keeping the name the Hotel Victoria, or are you changing it to Nikki? Nikki Victoria, a Victorian Nikki. It will. So that will be lost. Okay. Yes, that's a shame. Yes, Duncan. Not Duncan. Sorry, Joe. I'm frazzled. I am frazzled today. I'm really sorry. So I'm going to be making slips like that.
So on a different point, I just wanted to raise awareness of the Dinard Garden, which is the little bit, of course, you're well aware of. It's an area of cultural sensitivity for the town. I think the point I was going to make was that it is an asset to the town, but it can also be an asset for you, because it would be within the interests of your residents and patrons to be able to utilise that garden. The garden requires upkeep, and I'm wondering if you have had or are planning to have discussions with the town council about how that garden can do its best for the town, for you, and it potentially is a project that could be win-win for everybody. And so, I mean, I know there's a protection covenant on it. I think, I can't remember who I spoke to in June. It may have been, it was, that's right, it was, I remember this conversation. And you pointed out that there would be an increase in overlooking based on the hotel structure. And the point that you made at the time is you said that would be good for the garden. And I understand the argument that you're making. And if it is going to be good for the garden, then it can be good for you as well. All right. So the more interest you have in the Dinard Garden, I would like that, and I'm sure that you would as well. And that's the point I'm making.
Hi. I mean, you're right. It's an asset for us. It's an asset for the town. And of course, we will become we will want to work with you. You know, we're hopefully your friends. We bring business to the town and investment. And there'll be lots of discussions over the coming years. If this goes ahead, which we'd like it to, there's going to be lots of discussions, and we become heavily involved in the town where we are. You know, we're not a big company necessarily, and the chairman's not here tonight, but he's passionate about hotels. That's his main aim in life, basically. So completely agree. Dinard Gardens, natural surveillance is the planning speak, if you like, because it brings that natural surveillance which it doesn't currently have. It perhaps makes it a bit more safer, and people would want to enjoy it more. But yeah, it's an absolute asset, absolutely. So, and the design review panel were very keen that we did overlook it, to bring that overlooking and natural surveillance.
Brilliant, thank you. A couple of other things. Did I say, I thought this was going to be those are going to be apartment hotels, or you said it's going to be residential. Is that right?
So it's a hotel,
Yes.
and then there's 81 apartments alongside.
But as an apart hotel?
No.
Separate residential?
Yes.
Okay. And is that the only access for the understory parking? Because before the previous application we saw we had an access from the road.
The access you see there, you've got the existing accesses into the hotel, then you've got, it's the same access point, but there's only that one that goes down to that area.
Okay, so there's only one. So for all those apartments, where's like the rubbish and the recycling going to be going, and how's it going to be collected?
We had this same conversation with the refuse team actually as Cornwall Council. There's a in the transport assessment that's submitted with the application, there's all the tracking, the refuse storage is shown, how the refuse vehicles will access the site, and they've basically signed that off. So, I mean, in short, there's obviously the forecourt to the hotel, and then I think I'm right in saying, Drew, is it going to, refuse vehicles going to stand there and it can reverse in and out?
Yeah, so the refuse in this building is down in this corner here, and this tracks the refuse vehicles to go underneath, and then they can collect from here. And also there's refuse points in here, and then similarly in this bit here, and they can all be accessed by the refuse vehicles.
Because with the previous application, we saw that they had the refuse bins and recycling was underground in the car park, and I made the point that who's going to be pushing that up the ramp? So is that the same? It's going to be outside on the level. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's.
The largest one is probably from here to here.
Yeah. And is there renewable energy then on the roof? Are you? Yeah.
Yeah, there's PV on the roof. I don't think we necessarily have enough roof space to actually hit all the targets Cornwall Council want, but we do plan to fill the roofs of the buildings we can with.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Brilliant. Okay. And so what is the number of car parking spaces that are going to be for residents and for the hotel?
At the moment, there's 96 spaces overall,
Right.
which I believe is split 60 residential, 36 hotel, and that's half spaces.
Okay. So when the residents they buy an apartment, do they buy a space? Do they have to then buy the space, or do they have a permit then to park?
So there'll be. We don't expect every apartment will have space, because obviously that can happen. I mean, there's a few one-bedders in there that people won't want a vehicle with it. So I guess it'll be part of, if you buy an apartment, if you want space, you have space with it, and that'll be all part of the purchase. But there, at the moment, it's notionally about 60 and 36.
So how many residents do you think the hotel will have? Or how many rooms are you having in the hotel?
There's about 84 rooms in the hotel.
84 rooms for just 36 car parking spaces?
We go back to Dave's point. I mean, you probably, if you were trying to go one for one on everything.
Yeah, what we don't want with Great Spetch is a multi-storey car park here, and we always know that it's a sensitive balance between providing car parking and encouraging sustainable walking, cycling, use of the train and all that stuff. Like I say, you speak to Cornwall Council, they'll say, well, you don't do any car parking here. Why do you want any parking, which we don't think is tenable? So it's really a question of striking that balance, which is why we're keen on the travel planning, which is why we're keen on the Beryl bikes, which is why obviously we're fortunate we're close to the station. We get asked this all the time, and if you go to any of the other hotels, so I'll use the Harbour Hotels as the example, it's a different brand, but it's the same people that created them, and I think you'll find the parking ratio is probably less than we've got here. So they will use valet parking, park and ride, they will offer incentives for people to car share, etc., etc., etc. So that's where we come from, and it's very much the travel planning part of it, which is part of the application.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we've ignored Cornwall Council, but we've walked a very fine line, let's say. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think you've included the statement from the architects panel in your papers, have you?
Not tonight, no.
I was there. One of the problems they had, I don't actually agree with them, but one of the problems they have was the fact that you are demolishing part of the original building. I actually like it being square like this, but there's, I mean, have you come to some sort of agreement with them about the wing, which is Bertie's, which apparently was original?
So my view, for what it's worth, is part of this scheme relies upon, obviously, the residential. We are retaining the principal hotel building.
Yeah.
But more importantly, that part of the hotel has been extended, it's been messed around with, it's had lots of things added to it. But we went to Historic England because they are the government body that rules on heritage assets. This is a non-designated heritage asset. And they basically looked at this, more scrutiny than I could give it, and they said, no, we recognise what you need to do to bring this back to life, so they've raised no objections. And that letter is in I think it's in the planning statement, it's an appendix to the planning statement. So yeah, I totally understand that. Most people would rather see the hotel brought back to life, no residential, everything hunky-dory, but unfortunately the viability and the commerciality has to come into it. Thank you.
Looking at this, so you're demolishing all of this block here, right?
There's a very nice, I think it's a postcard and photograph that shows that when it was originally built, and it had a lovely clerestory light over the top of it, and it was well designed at the time, but it's been ruined, quite frankly, if I can be bold. So yeah, it's certainly seen better days, and internally it's awful.
Members of Bertie's.
I apologise.
There is one report I can recommend in the paper called the Townscape Visual Appraisal, which is absolutely cracking, wonderful report, and tells all the history and then how it looks. Nobody's asked you about affordable housing, and I'm surprised that nobody has.
Well, I was sort of getting there. Well, I was under the impression it was going to be a part hotel, not residential. I hadn't realised the residential. Yes, in terms of, you know, how the proportion of this you're giving over to being, well, the term affordable, it's not really that affordable, but a term affordable, yeah.
So with all these types of applications, there's a viability assessment submitted. I'm sure you're familiar with those, and that gets independently reviewed by Cornwall Council. That looks at the amount of money that we're having to spend on the hotel to bring it back to life, which is considerable. Then look at the build costs for the scheme, and then look at what the revenue would be from the hotel and from the apartments. And the summary of that is you can't afford the affordable housing. You can't introduce the affordable housing, even if a registered provider would want it here, which we suspect they wouldn't anyway, because the service charges, etc. But more importantly, the viability doesn't allow for it. But that's been assessed by, or is being assessed, I should say, by Cornwall Council. So it's not uncommon for that, I'm afraid. So no, there's no affordable housing proposed. Otherwise, you wouldn't get the hotel, and dare I say, this could turn into just another boring residential scheme, if you like. But it's not that. It's far from it.
So you'll be paying the compensation instead of that then for offsetting,
well,
I imagine.
We're waiting for Cornwall Council to come back to us, but what we're saying, what the report says at the moment is that there's just no money left in the pot, basically.
So
Wow.
I suppose for me that seems a little bit unfair, because if an individual bills, they've got to pay CILS, you know, they've got the community interest levy. So I know you're going to plough lots of money into this building, and you know, it will be your business and you will generate that income. And I know if you're having social housing there, they would be for people generally of Newquay, but if you give a pot of money, it goes to Cornwall, they can spend it anywhere. But often you're saying that they're going to do an assessment, and at the moment in time you think you're not going to have to pay anything because you're investing so heavily. We appreciate that, you know,
Sorry,
you are
sorry,
investing.
Margaret. I'm looking at the time. We've had half an hour, and we've got to start the meeting by. So yes.
You're investing heavily. There will be jobs, you know, but at the end of the day, you're in business to make money. But we have to think of the residents here in Newquay as well.
Absolutely. Can I just say on SIL, we will be paying SIL, Community Infrastructure Levy. There's no question.
That's what I'm, the surcharge, yeah, I was meaning the
apologies.
conversation
And
about,
that will very
I
much.
thought you were saying Cornwall Council
Yeah.
said you can't
No,
afford it.
sorry, I'm
Yeah.
simply talking
Yeah,
about the affordable housing.
Yeah.
Apologies, fine.
Okay. Thank you ever so much. I think we need to round it up then. So we'll go offline for a couple of minutes, I think, to go, and the gentlemen, do they need to move up there? Yes. Yes. Yes, staying for the. So for our audience, yeah, if we move it just gentleman around the corner, and then we can start the meeting formally. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Planning and Licensing. If you weren't here for the presentation from the Hotel Victoria, so apologies, Duncan.
Apologies from Councillor Morris and Councillor Williamson this evening.
Brilliant, thank you. Any declared interests? Any shareholders in companies that we that might be? So we minutes. Have we got any?
I haven't got anywhere near
No,
them,
no.
I'm afraid.
Haven't you, Duncan?
I have not had the time. No.
You didn't take them with you.
I did not. Next meeting, I promise.
So no matters arising. Right. We have in our audience representatives from the Hotel Victoria tonight. So what we're going to do is bump up the agenda and we're going to hear application 6, PA 25/08665. Now, so I'm going to put forward that we move that up the agenda. Seconder, Joanna's seconding. All those in favour? Yeah, wonderful. Can I say over to you then, Duncan, please, to present. Oh.
First of all, I draw attention to your comments pack. There may have been additions since I looked at that. If you've got one in front of you, that would be great. I'd also, whilst we're at it, the pack that you've got with the agenda on it, that has a taken from the application documents in red. You will see a sort of a potted history of the building in terms of the original building and then the additions to it. It just helps us to make a little bit of sense of what's going to remain and what's going to go and why. So yeah, I draw your attention to that as well. In terms of public comments, I saw there was one comment in support. There were 2 objections. There are 9 consultee comments there as well. So back in February last year, our applicants delivered a very useful presentation to this committee outlining their proposals for the hotel. Then in June there was a wide-ranging engagement event, and I know many of us in this room attended. I believe there has since been at least 1 pre-app, maybe 2. Just, you can nod if you like. Yeah, so there have been a couple of pre-apps since. These haven't been publicly available though, okay, as is often the case. And I'll just reiterate a point that's already been made, which is that the Griffin Inn, which would have been redeveloped, or which would be redeveloped as part of current proposals, was subject to a pre-app advice and a full application for planning permission back in 2024. That proposal, nothing to do with our guests this evening, was objected to by this committee and was looked upon quite unfavourably and was withdrawn. I just first of all wanted to expand on the description that we've got. So the current application seeks full planning permission for the demolition of existing buildings and sections of the hotel, including Senior Dick's, Oncliffe Road, the Griffin Inn, Bertie's Nightclub, O'Flanagan's Bar, Bertie's Backpackers, and a detached dwelling to the northwest corner of the site. Refurbishment and extension to create a vastly improved 90 bedrooms, spa pool and associated facilities intended to support the future of the hotel. 81 apartments across 5 buildings, associated green infrastructure, 97 off-road parking spaces with provision for EV charging. I think that we've seen that that's a sort of a 60-37 split, I think. Cycle parking, including barrel bike stands, and a ground floor Class E retail commercial unit. Okay, let us have a look at some drawings then. Right, so just bring up the location plan to start us off. You'll see the tram tracks running along the northern side and Cliff Road running along the southern boundary. The existing site plan you can see the various buildings in grey that are currently there. I'm not going to go into too much detail with those as well. And this boat-shaped parcel of land also includes the Dinard Gardens and a building known as Victoria House, which benefits from a right of access across the site. Neither of those are included within this application. that going to open? Nope. Right. There we go. Sorry, my computer seems to be going a bit slow. I think we've already had a quick look, but just to re-familiarise ourselves with the site. And as you'll see, it is quite a busy site in terms of the buildings that are on it. And as I was saying, this is shows the historic development of the hotel. So effectively, this dark red area is what we look at as remaining once, as the sort of kind of key part of the hotel. The proposed site plan. I'm just going to make that slightly larger. Let's get rid of that. So this shows the hotel, as I say, minus the more recent add-ons and minus the existing buildings. And in their place, you've got a total of 5 residential buildings accommodating 81 apartments. It looks like 4. This one, Block C, it's quite a sort of small bijou little residence. It would appear quite clear that the works to the hotel would sit comfortably alongside the neighbourhood plan policy E3, which seeks to enhance Newquay as a tourist destination. I'm sure you'll appreciate there are a lot of documents involved with this application, and I've spent a lot of time looking at them over the past few days. I think a key question for us is how the wider site will be developed and the effect that this will have on the town, particularly in terms of its visual impact. And so, in some ways, I've sort of kind of steered, what I'm presenting to you in that direction. But of course, we can look at other bits. I'm sure that you've all had a good look at the application anyway. So I was going to start off with the street elevations. Right, I'm just going to make those a little larger for you. So this is the existing street elevation. I kind of felt that the applicants had done themselves a slight disservice here because they've put the existing buildings in a very light coloured grey, and so it almost gives the impression that the hotel is kind of standing there and has nothing around it, which we all know isn't the case. If we have a look at the proposed, we can see the hotel with existing building or the additions removed, and then you've got some of the, you can see 2 of the blocks here. There's a third one sitting behind this one here, and if we scroll along, this takes you down to the corner house, which is where the Griffin was. The red outline indicates the outline of the Griffin Hotel. The blue line is supposedly representative of the withdrawn application that we mentioned earlier. So I guess the point being made is that that corner house will be have a significantly smaller scale and mass. As Councillor Kenny said earlier, there's a really nice sort of visualisation document. I'm going to sweep through a lot of it because I just want to see I just want to show you the images that will give you an idea of the impact visually that this is likely to have for the town. Just going to make that slightly bigger again. So to start with, these are just to give you an idea of the various viewpoints that have been where these following images have been taken from. Okay, so it's quite a wide range, as far afield as the sports centre and also from the Barrowfields. So what we've got effectively are a number of before and after images, if you like. So, top image, obviously this is a current one. The red on these images signifies the current buildings, existing buildings that will be removed. Okay, so that's what you're looking at the moment, and I think, as we've already seen, the removal of Signal Dix opens up the view of the hotel from the street, which currently doesn't exist. So this is, we're looking here at, let's see, yeah, so that's minus Bertie's and number 1 Cliff Road, and as you can see, this residential block here, I think it's block G if I remember rightly, has that separation from the hotel, so it's creating a view, a vista through. Presumably you will be able to see, see out over the cliff and beyond to the sea from there. Interesting image on the right-hand corner there. That is the Penthouse Hotel, and that's an image from 1987. So it just shows, and that's obviously the site of the Griffin, so it just shows how much that site has changed in relatively short space of time. If we're looking down here, we can see the Griffin removed and the replacement corner house block. At the ground floor here, this is the retail aspect of the scheme. Okay.
So those are where the shops are, is it?
Yes, that's right, yeah, on that ground floor level, on that corner, wrapping round so that they sort of kind of tail round into the entrance into the tram tracks. We've got some more distant views now, and you might have to squint a little to see here. This is the townscape seen from King Edward Crescent. The green outline on the bottom image is giving you an idea of the location, the size of the scheme, and the degree of visibility. Exactly. I mean, I think it's.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah. If you come down to the bottom image.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I think that makes a point in itself. That's for you to decide.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the view of the corner house, which is quite a large, a large building, but as viewed from Station Parade, it's not dominating it doesn't appear to dominate the street scene when seen from further up the road. Again, I have another one where it's sort of kind of spot the difference. Again, we're looking down here. And again, it doesn't appear to make a huge difference to the townscape. And then if we come down slightly further, this is possibly my favourite part, my favourite viewing point of the town, because you get this. I go to running club on Tuesday and Friday, and I'm always looking at the town. You see from the sports centre, you get this kind of lovely view of the whole town, which I think most people miss. St Michael's Church at the top there, and what I'd never really appreciated, what a dominant building the Victoria is in the town, and when seen from up there, it really is. It is the sort of the one that sort of stands out after the church, and there you can see. Hopefully, are you able to point at that again, Sarah? hopefully you can see the, what I guess we would consider an addition to the townscape. Okay, I think we've just one more. I'm probably boring you with these, and I do apologise. We've just one more, which gives that view from, I guess, if you're catching autumn wave down a Great Western, this is probably the additions to the townscape that you'll see on that bottom image.
Where I off the gym, the lovely black just
Yeah.
Conversation for another meeting, I reckon. Do you want to have another look at those 3D images again that we saw in the presentation, or are you happy that they're in your minds?
No, come.
Yeah, we'll swiftly move on then. I'm going to look at I'm just going to close some of these. In fact, I'm going to close a lot for a minute, because otherwise I'm just going to end up with so many things that are open. Right, I'm just going to go to the blocks themselves, the 5 blocks themselves, so that we can sort of hopefully get an appreciation of their similarities and their differences. As I say, I did feel that the best thing that I could really, the best way to approach this was just in terms of what this would look like if it was built, and how that would affect the town or sit within the town. So I'm just going to make that slightly larger. So obviously the north elevation is facing the street. The east elevation is facing back towards the sea, or out over. Sorry. So this one is Block A, also referred to as East Street House, I think. This is a 5-storey building. It accommodates 9 2-bedroom apartments, and this is behind the space currently occupied by Senior Dix. So this is it's just sat back a little behind. This one is Victoria Lodge, Block B. This one sits behind the one that we've just looked at. Okay. Again, closer to the cliff, but yeah, behind this one that's replacing Senior Dix. Ooh, just lost it now. Right, there we go. So yeah, so sorry, the north elevation would be, let's see, I need to get my...
North elevation's from the tram lines.
So the north elevation is going to be looking out over the tram lines. Yeah. And these will be the most visible to people as they walk past. The south elevation, looking towards the road. That doesn't seem like that's been labelled correctly.
So is there a current building here at the moment, or are they going to be building on top of this slope from the tram lines?
If we go back to the...
Can we go to the top first page of the system design document? Because that shows what we've got.
Right, in terms of... Sorry, do you mean the design and access statement?
Yeah, which is the first page,
yeah.
Picture. No, that's not what I'm looking at.
Right.
Page 1 of 7 I'm looking at.
That sounds...
Statement,
right, so it's the planning statement, okay.
Okay, so it's where this building is here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, look how that got there. Anyway. So, do we have a distance from, I mean, we already have a building here, but in comparison to looking straight into the apartments there?
So there is a...
Because at the moment, this is this a three-story building, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in 2 flats, what it used to be.
Hmm.
So this one here is a 4-storey, 8 two-bedroom apartments. Yeah, so that would
But-
be built roughly on this.
But looking at the distance, we've got a car parked here, and it looks like there's a car park district between the fence boundary then for the top of the tram line. But the impression that the block B is going to be is effectively where the car park is, so it's going to be much closer to the tram line.
Would it
Didn't
not be easier if I just go back to the existing...
Yeah, go back, yeah. So didn't somebody put something up, there'd been a slope collapse on the tram line sometime last week?
Well, there was one just by west, just down from, the old lagoon. There's definitely one there.
There's lots of them.
No. But on the tram lines, no, I'm on the tram lines. That there was a slope failure on the tram line, I thought.
Yeah, there was, you are correct.
Hmm.
It's the one next to to Aldi's, isn't it, where they've sort of overhanging...
I think it's no.
No.
There is one that took place about halfway down the tram lines. I mean,
Yes.
it's more of a, you've sort of got the retaining wall, and it's some of the material.
Yeah,
that
it's
was
come from
above
the top.
that. This was perhaps
The whole cliff
it was in autumn time, and so it's, I think that the ground there just became sodden, and let's think it's quite close towards where the bridge is. And
Well, I mean, it's just there. So that's the bridge with the road, this post office. So the corner of then this building, being so close to that slope of the tram line, I have a little bit of concern about as to whether the building can be brought south a little bit.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can see that there is a little greater distance.
Yeah, I mean, for digging out for foundations, right on the...
It's getting very close to the red line side there, isn't it?
For the red line. So, I mean, the red line they've actually got along the tramway, whereas this green here is the top of the slope. So the building on the corner is straight on the top of that slope, which I would have thought was a bit fragile myself.
Okay.
You can look at it like that, Joanna. I'm not wrong on this. Yeah. Have you got that elevations again for block B, please, if we can.
Certainly.
I thought it was on Trebarrow, it was on the other side.
No.
Yeah, this is the bulb.
Yeah, this is the tram tracks here. Yeah, if no, it's not on the cliff. It's on.
You've got a retaining wall that runs along.
As long as the tram tracks.
Into town, you've got a retaining wall that runs along the left-hand side, and there's a lot of it's built up behind that, and there was it's not huge, but there was.
It's not
the first time I was in it, there was a collapse of that material onto the tram tracks. I think it was in the autumn.
Can I just say the wall that you talk about is really literally only that
Yeah,
high?
and then it's the steep slope. Yeah. So if we can have a look at that, just the elevation of block B again, please. Block B, there it is, second one along. Yeah, there we go. So that's what I mean. So the building, so they're going to be building down foundations into this above just this steep slope for down on the tram tracks. That's the concern. which is a lot further back to the slope than the current building. Current building is probably about here. And that slope has recently then shown indications that it's a bit unstable. Yeah, thank you.
If it doesn't have, the good people at Cornwall Council will make sure that you can't just fall off the side.
Yeah, well,
so I wouldn't. Yeah.
Small children and dogs.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about that too much, I don't think. So the corner house, which is block F. So this is the in fact, let's get that slightly smaller just to fit it all on. This is obviously the largest. This is a 5-storey and it starts at lower ground floor. I think that we've sort of already heard that there's some parking underneath this. We can have yeah, F is the corner house. So where the Griffin is. There are 8 one-bedroom apartments and 32 two-bedroom apartments in this one. And then finally we have block G, he says. There we go, block G. This is another 5-storey, 8 one-bed, 13 two-bed, 4 3-bed. This sits where One Cliff Road and Bertie's are, effectively. It's sort of that kind of part of the site. So in total, you've got 81 apartments. I think it works out as about 154 bedrooms altogether, something like that. We've already covered the affordable housing side of it. I'll just reiterate what it says in the affordable housing statement. The significant costs of retaining and restoring the Victoria Hotel, together with build costs of the scheme and likely sales value, mean that the scheme does not generate sufficient profit to enable affordable housing to be provided. And as we know, Cornwall Council will assess that. And respond in due course. In terms of parking, there's the creation of an additional 32 parking spaces on the site. A mix of various outdoor and undercroft spaces. I'd made an assumption, I hadn't realised the split, so I'd thought that there was 1 per apartment and then just 16 for the hotel, but as we've heard, the hotel would have 36 of those and 60 would be for the 81 apartments. There are 5 disabled parking spaces. In terms of policy H4, obviously it doesn't meet that at all. And I don't think it ever could do. Cycle parking has been provided, or sized to provide 1 cycle parking space per bedroom across the entire site, which I think, that's roughly 218, something like that. So there's a lot of cycles parking spaces have been made available. When we're looking at parking, we also need to consider the commercial aspect of it. Now, I'm not certain quite how we would apply policy E5, which is commercial development and parking. That policy says that hotels should provide parking spaces for at least 75% of their bedrooms. it says in highly sustainable locations, a lower proportion of parking spaces may be acceptable. And that our policy goes on to say, plans which propose less than 50% of car parking spaces numbered by bedrooms will not be supported. And obviously this does not come anywhere, it does not come close to that. However, they aren't building a new hotel. It's an existing hotel. And I'm not certain how we would apply or not apply that policy. I don't think that we've had this situation
it's right
before.
in the centre of town, right near the station. So, well, I totally appreciate what you said in terms of not everybody wants to go to the station or get on a bike. In terms of taking it to committee or going to appeal, I mean, it might have a whinge, but that's about. It's about that.
I'm not even certain if we could apply the policy to an existing hotel.
Because I mean, there's staff as well, all the staff and everything. What if I was in that position, I'd be looking to get an area of parking permits in one of the car parks on the outside on the bus route.
Can I just say about staff parking? I wouldn't think that was something that was required. You look at the shops in the town, they don't provide any parking for staff, do they? And people working in the NHS have to go and pay in parking as well. So
I know, but there's that. The return of the hotel coming back into being is going to put then parking pressures on the local residential area. But if you had a block of parking permits for Tregonwell or somewhere otherwhere, and that was on a bus route, then that would encourage them not to park on local residential areas.
I think they'd be able to park. I mean, you look at somewhere like Springfield Road. I mean, you can't park. You can't park there anyway, can you? To be honest. In terms of refuse, I think it's already been mentioned that bin stores are sized to Cornwall Council's refuse guidance, and there is, there does appear from the plans to be plenty of provision, and the transport statement does show that it is accessible. The other thing that I thought that we ought to have a look at is in terms of coastal protection. And in fact, I'll start that off by just having a look at the planning statement. I think Joanna will immediately know what that is. That is the lift access to the beach. The lift access to the beach. We have a lift going down and then an extraordinary long walkway down there. I thought it was fascinating seeing that because I didn't have any understanding of it whatsoever.
have you used it? Have you ever been in the
No, I haven't. And like Joanna, I don't think I would.
The bit to the right between it and the Trebarrow Hotel, that corner, is one of the many places which is going to fall.
Yeah.
But that's down to, I think, the cliff specialists to say whether they think it's a good idea or not.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of, I'm kicking it off in terms of coastal protection.
you need to be careful because they might think, oh, hell's bells, we're not going to do anything there with Hotel Victoria at all. Proves the sea view, doesn't it? There's whole buildings that have disappeared. And you've got much shorter tunnel, of course, to get from the lift down to the beach. Not quite such a long walk. Looking on the bright side and all of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't have that expertise, but we would obviously.
One of the things they said to me about somewhere else that I thought was interesting is the buffer, what they want to do, because this is such a big extension, is they want to actually take a look at the buffer and see whether it should be 10 metres the whole way around, because in some places it's got 10 metres and it's not appropriate. In other places, like Whipsted.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, when I've given coastal erosion classes at CAT meetings, where you have an inlet, it's a weakness that is prone to erosion, and so you're going to have faster erosion there than you are where you've got a headland sticking out. There's a headland there because it's more resistant to erosion. So you've got the two bays there, which, you know, potentially could collapse spectacularly or just trickle away in terms of their coastal erosion. Yeah, I mean, we've gone through all of this with up the coast, so to speak.
You're looking at parking, this kind of sort of parking underneath the building.
It's that corner distance there, this one to the cliff. That's where it's digging out foundations and the reverberations. So that's
and again, that's the tram tracks there.
Yeah, that's the tram track.
This is much smaller.
It is much smaller, but it did.
Down a bit. I mean, it's not 6 stories solid block.
No, I know.
It's stepping down.
Can you put the presentation back up? Sorry. So can I put the presentation back up, please? Yeah. So I think it was the there was a SketchUp image of the. Yeah, and of the keep going down. Next, no, keep going. It was the image of the Griffin block from the street. Keep going down. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. That one. Thank exactly that one. So, I mean, look at the shadow. It's completely overshadowing it. I mean, I don't know what day, you know, what day and time this is, but it's probably midday.
There is a light study.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're not light experts, and light studies do tend to show that it's not having a terrible effect on neighbouring buildings. We can look at it if you want.
No, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm just going from what they've done there. And one of the things of doing these things in AutoCAD and stuff is that you can pick the time of day and shadowing and everything. And they've obviously picked a time of day, and there's the shadow over the rooms of the Travelodge. So them saying it's not going to have an impact, obviously it is having an impact. So I'm just pointing it out that the artist's impression would have been done in AutoCAD, which you can pick the time of day and the shadowing it will give you for the time of day, the day of the week, of the year, and it will create that shadow for you. And that's obviously what they've done here, and it's clearly demonstrating a shadow on the Travelodge on the other side of the tram lines. It isn't that, you know, an artist is sat there and has drawn this up and thinks, oh, I'll stick a bit of shadow on here. They've asked a computer to do this. So, you know, from when I used to use it years ago, and I'm sure it's probably got AI now, which wasn't available. So,
question to ask of the officer.
Yes.
I'm not certain how much weight will be given to it, given
won't.
that it's not a residential dwelling.
But I'd like to acknowledge that we have noted it. I trust the disabled parking isn't in the Undercroft parking, that it is on the level.
I'm not certain if it's shown on the plan. I haven't looked at it in that. I haven't looked at it in that level of detail.
No, I mean sort of.
If it's Undercroft, it can still be accessible if there's a.
Yeah, if you've got a lift going down. Yeah. As long as you don't have a power cut. Yeah. Has anybody got any other points that they'd like to raise on
I was just going to
this?
say, although I can't understand the daylight thing, when they put the building, it shows a wonderful picture in purple of what the buildings actually look like. I want to know what they look like. It's this beautiful purple description. I like what they're doing with the Griffin. I think that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I draw attention to.
Can I raise a point? If we're into discussion,
Yeah, I think we're grinding to a halt on here, aren't we?
the only point I'd like to raise is just to reiterate the concerns that have already been made about the digging out of the car park and what impact that's going to have in terms of cliff stability and all of the other things. Because you've mentioned, I mean, I think you made your point much clearer than I'm making it now, but there seems to be a risk there. And so I think if we can note that somehow, Duncan, that would be really useful.
Whatever we do, we have to ask the professional. Yeah. Oh, sorry. We have to ask for, you know, where we've got. I mean, the cliff particularly. We need to say to the cliff people, take a look at this. We don't have the expertise to look at it. We know it's a very sensitive cliff, but it is set back from the cliff. And it is an existing building, but yeah. It's
the digging out and the reverberations that come from that, as to the impact that'll have or the tunnel at the bottom. I hope nobody will be in the tunnel when they're doing that.
Have we also noted Sarah's previous point about how close the building comes to the tram track slope? Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is that, I mean, I don't have any big issues, just concerns that I think that need checking. Joe?
Can I just reiterate the point I was making in the presentation for noting, please, Duncan, which is about how the whole of the estate will interact with the Dinard Garden, and what reassurances we're seeking that that will be preserved and maintained as much as possible. Is there a way of recording that?
Not going to be in planning. I think that's a desire thing. I think, yeah. I mean, at the moment.
I mean, if you've a concern regarding the potential overshadowing, I mean, you don't want to. We would want reassurance that it's not going to end up being a dark, damp space, sort of all year round.
It's on the south side. Yeah.
It's how the estate here that we're discussing is going to interact with what is a town asset. And I think I just wanted to make the point that the more those two particular entities work together, the better it will be for everyone. So I don't know how you're going to phrase that.
Okay, now I can do something with that.
So on positive terms, we're welcoming the retention of the hotel and the doing up of the hotel and bringing that as a as a hotel, where so many have been demised in Newquay, which is great, and I've enjoyed driving past and seeing the hotel being done up and everything, and we welcome that. And the increase in green space, particularly around, I think is good. And the grey water, I particularly welcome as well. And I would strongly recommend grey water for toilets, because the UK is well, England and Wales are going to be short in the foreseeable future of about 5 billion litres of water a day. No, it doesn't feel like it at the moment, but it's all running off, isn't it? It's not being stored. Yeah, I think that would be, the people that live in those apartments and stay at the hotel would be relieved to, pardon the pun, tonight's witty remarks. Yeah, that they can still flush the loo. Brilliant. So I'm going to propose no objection. Is anyone going to second? Second that. With making those concerns. So nobody's going to leap off this. So can we vote on that?
I was going to say, personally, I'd have liked one less block, but I can't see any planning reason for saying that one in the middle opposite Berry Road.
I mean, I think it's a good sign. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Keep up. Keep up.
So then we're all voting no objection.
We're all voting no objection. Those concerns are raised. I think in terms of the difference in the public, 2 objections compared to the Hotel Bristol, which I think when we went for planning was at 700 objections. I think then on the whole was, sorry, we won't get that, but comment on record. So it hasn't had the same public concern level that other.
What are we going to say about the parking? Because clearly it isn't meeting.
Yes, I mean that. Yes, thank you. And we do have concern about the parking.
In the centre of town, blah, blah,
yeah. But if you might consider a block parking permit system at one of sort of like above Waterworld up there, or something that's on a bus service, because you can just walk down the hill and there's the bus that goes around from the bus stop outside by Heron Terrace, that car park there, there's a bus stop there. Yes, frequent buses. So as an alternative for residents, visitors and staff, that would be really good. That'd be wonderful. Thank you for coming along. Thank you, everybody. We're all very good tonight. Go us. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, after our quick 5-minute break. Now, so quite surprisingly, we don't have anybody regarding Boardmasters in the gallery, so the gallery is now empty, so we can actually go back to our agenda. Right, active consultations. Duncan.
I think we're going to deal with the off-street parking order under the working parties.
Later on.
Yeah.
Brilliant,
So
thank
later
you.
on.
Right, so actually we come up to then licensing applications, and the first licensing application that has come up is LA03, Boardmasters Festival. Duncan, we have got objections for that. I had somebody email me earlier that was going to make an objection. So did Duncan, did you photocopy it for everybody, or did you? Did you yours? Yeah. So I'll pass that round. That was an email to me, and I know that hasn't gone through official channels yet, but she will be. And from a lady called Mrs. Lewis Stewart. I've also had the objections are going to be raised by residents on Whipsey and Will Ashworth at the Watergate Bay Hotel, / Seascape, that they're objecting to, with the to the noise potentially, yeah. And people that I've spoken to are not happy within the area as well. So so there is some controversy on this. Sorry, Duncan. Sorry.
Is it just the changes in the noise level that?
But also the extension of the night, and with the Thursday as well, rather than having the silent disco, which they have at the moment on the Thursday, they're extending that to becoming a stage event, which from our presentation that we were given, they said that was going to be happening. So. Yeah, Duncan.
Right. Okay. Well, obviously I provided you all with some information a couple of days ago. So the description remains unchanged. Obviously, this application has been made because previously we've had time-limited premises licenses. There are, as I've said, very few differences from the current permission, but the first change for us to note is that the current application does not include an end date.
So that means for people is that when they're hoping this, then they won't have to keep applying. So if they get this through, this will go on then indefinitely. But if there are issues that then licensing can then revoke the license if needs be. But it's not as easy thing to do. So I'm just saying that there's both sides to that for like Lamorna, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be difficult, as you know, licensing. The Licensing Act 2003 is based upon the licensing objectives, and it is, especially given how long the event has been running for, it would be I think it would be impossible to argue that not having an end date undermined any one of those licensing objectives. So I know that a lot of people in this room would have wanted an end date, but I don't think that it would carry any weight whatsoever.
Can I just ask? If they changed anything, they would have to come back for a new licence. Is that right?
No, they would vary their licence.
But that could still come through, so that you could still raise representation.
So they could make a minor variation if they were perhaps taking stuff off or making small changes to the layout, or a full variation, which follows a very similar process to a grant application. The question about revoking the licence, you have a review process in place. Some of you will remember that I think that a licensing review was actually called for last summer, in the run-up to last summer, because of the some people's concern about one of the acts who was playing. We weren't involved in that. We aren't a statutory consultee, so we weren't involved in that particular review. But there is a review process, and people can lose their license. It has happened. It's a rare thing. You do have to have really, as a license holder, have really diverted from the licensing objectives quite markedly for a license to be revoked. But it does happen.
Are you saying it's unusual for licensing not to be granted in perpetuity? Because that was what
yes,
that's unusual.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suspect that it has been time limited in order to, as a conciliatory measure, I think, over time. But the festival has been running for such a long time now. I don't think that they feel that it's necessary to keep on sort of having to go through this process every 4 years or so. It doesn't really serve any purpose for anybody now. As I say, capacity is not changing, site and layout aren't changing, permitted hours aren't changing, because although we've talked about the Thursday night, the operating schedule does actually accommodate that Thursday night. It's just that they haven't been doing anything other than a silent disco, and so no noise conditions were put on a Thursday night in the same way that they had been on the Friday, Saturday and Sunday nights. But those hours, that terminal hour of 4 in the morning, is on the current licence anyway. No change to the licensable activities. The Annex 2 conditions are very much the same. The addition of an anti-spiking protocol, improved staff training regime, and perhaps the one that's caught people's attention more than anything is the changes to the sound levels, which I can go through quickly now if you would like. Changes to sound levels for various show days are as follows. Conditions currently covering Friday and Saturday, because there's a separate set of requirements for the Sunday. But Friday and Saturday would now be Thursday, Friday and Saturday. They would all have the same noise conditions applied to them. Currently, Wednesday and Thursday have a condition that says entertainment shall not be readily audible and discernible when assessed at the agreed monitoring locations. That doesn't include sound checks, but they want to take Thursday out of that restriction, and that restriction now would only cover the Wednesday. Okay, they are saying that the changes, the addition of Thursday alongside Friday and Saturday would not be happening this year. It would be from 2027 onwards, so we wouldn't see any change this year. They would still be operating on the Thursday night as they have done for many years. Silent disco, I think, is their chosen sort of form of entertainment. So Thursday and Friday and Saturday would all have the same noise conditions imposed upon them. They wish to increase the decibel level from 60 to 65, and that is between 10 and 11 p.m. For those same 3 days, Thursday, Friday and Saturday, 11 p.m. till 1 a.m. currently is 45. They would want to raise that by 10 to 55. Sunday, as I say, has a different set of conditions on it, and that would be 10 till 11 going from 60 to 65, and 11 p.m. till 12:45 a.m. would be 45 to 55. Performances that go beyond these hours So anything after 1 a.m. for the Thursday, Friday and Saturday, or anything after 12:45 a.m. for the Sunday would be subject to the condition that we mentioned a minute ago. Entertainment shall not be readily audible and discernible when assessed at the agreed monitoring locations. There is an discrepancy on the application because their terminal hour for regulated entertainment on these days, I think Sunday is, I can't remember. I think it's 4 a.m. anyway, and the application mistakenly only carries that readily audible and discernible condition on until 3 a.m. So effectively, they've put in an application that kind of says from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. they could do whatever the hell they like. I've had a conversation with them about that. They've realised that it's a mistake with their licensing solicitors, and they are going to sort that out. And if that were the only objection received, I'm confident that will be sorted out by email. But by the sounds of it, there will be more objections than just that. But that's something that they're very happy to amend and to change. If we did submit a representation, it might be worth just reminding them of that, so that the condition matches the terminal hour, if that makes sense.
Is there any indication as to where they're measuring this decibel outage from? Is this what's being broadcast on a stage, or is this what's coming out of a distance away from speakers?
The monitoring locations will have been agreed with Cornwall Council's noise officers. I don't know where those are. We're not privy to that.
So hang on a minute. So I mean, I've just Googled what level of decibels you get at outdoor pop concerts, and it's come back with 90 to 110 decibels. Which is where you are by speakers. Now, if this decibelage is where you're saying by monitoring stations, this is a distance away from the stage and from what the speakers and what's being broadcast. Because, I mean, with the following wind, I can hear it and words, and I'm probably 2 miles inland from it. If you've got an onshore breeze. So I'd want to know in terms of where those monitoring stations are for them to be having the 60 to 65, because if you look on the scale of decibelage, it's a logarithmic scale, and actually 60 to 65 is quite quiet. So that's obviously not what's being put out through the amps. This is what's being measured as a distance away from that. So so they're going to be making what's coming out of the speakers then much louder to have it acceptable for the monitoring stations to be from 60 to 65. Lamorna.
Yeah, I looked up the Code of Practice on Environmental Noise Control, and the idea is that you measure that sound from the nearest point of the nearest residence. So they should be putting monitoring stations up near the nearest residence.
Refer to these as sensitive locations.
And then it recommends 65 decibels as the maximum for rural communities, which we would be. And 60 decibels, if you think about it, is about my normal speaking voice. 65 decibels is if I was giving a presentation, or they say a Hoover going around. So although it is exponential, it's still not huge, but it is where, as you rightly say, it's where the monitoring stations are. It's crucial. And also, I did look up, and again, my research is on the internet, so it's got a health warning, but I understand the Rock Oyster Festival in Weybridge is 65 decibels. But also, they do say as well, between 11 p.m. and 9 a.m., the noise should be inaudible. And I don't know whether 55 decibels would be inaudible.
So just going back to that, it's that sounds very much like that condition not readily audible and discernible, which would kick in on the main show days post 1 a.m. There is a difference, because I can stand out, I've stood out in my back garden and listened to Primal Scream, there is a difference between noise and noise nuisance that we have to consider. I mean, in terms of the noise, I don't believe that we have the expertise to say this is acceptable and this isn't acceptable. I've spoken to Cornwall Council noise officers before, and it's a very complicated set of physics, to be honest. And they are obviously the best people to know where to monitor it from and whether it's acceptable or not.
I think so if I just say something quickly, Joanna. I think for me, from speaking to the proprietors of like Seaspace, which is their nearest neighbour on the plateau, because the Watergate Bay Hotel is sunken down, isn't it, from that? And for their residents and their business impact for residents staying there, then that could be quite an impactful impact from them as well as local residents. And it's just intrusive as well. But I do have that, all it needs is then the wind to suddenly change. And I want to know how quickly they're going to be reacting to this. So, I mean, personally, it's sort of like, and it's quite subjective as well as to what people consider to be noisy, invasive or not. If you've got a small baby or child that you're trying to put to sleep, that's like putting it down, isn't it? No, that's not right. That's not right. Trying to get to sleep, then you've got a huge, problem with that.
This is the difference between noise and
noise nuisance. Yes, it is a difficult one, this one, as to what's actually being broadcast actually on the site as opposed to the monitoring, and we don't know where those monitoring stations are.
But if we did, I don't know that would inform our view on it in the slightest either. They are located at noise-sensitive locations, which inevitably means, as Lamorna said, the nearest residential properties.
Or commercial, more likely.
Or commercial, but we don't. Yeah. But we do not know, and that's
Joanna?
that's for the noise officers.
It's just a practical thing. That it seems fairly certain that there are going to be objections to this, which means they will have a hearing. If we don't make a representation, then we don't get invited. And I think that is, and then we miss entirely about what happens. So if we have if we can cobble together some sort of representation, saying, we're concerned about the noise, the effect on adjacent businesses or something like that, then we can be involved in the debate. And I think if we don't make a representation and relay it to everybody else, then we find out about it after it's happened.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So, because I would like to see where those monitoring stations are, because if you're saying it's like a rural one, all they need is like whatever the farm is, and it's not at Seascape, or because that's really the nearest one that I'd want to see a monitoring station is. And we're making these assumptions that is it where they pick, is it where Cornwall Council picks, is it in a field on the other side? But it could easily be on a field on the other side, and where there isn't anybody but a bunch of cows. So I'd
be very remiss of public protection.
But I'd like to know.
Yeah,
we do not
so
know.
I think my point is that if everybody else then withdraws their objection, then we probably would as well.
Yes.
But I think we need to say something just so that we're involved in the.
So what you are saying is that you feel. Excuse me, that the public nuisance licensing objective will be undermined by the increased noise.
Yeah. So are you happy to? That's okay. That's okay. Just so we're going to propose a representation. Seconder for that, and we will have Sandy seconding, and all those in favour of representation. Yes, thank you. I think it just needs discussing in an open forum with experts. Yeah. And if we can have a demonstration of those sounds, then I think as opposed to, you
Well, it
know,
will be going to, what happens is it will go to a subcommittee
yeah,
and they will be asking all those questions.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we're just sort of coming along saying, basically, we're not certain that what you've
And if it-
suggested
and
is
if it-
acceptable.
And if it
That's
is the
probably all
norm
we're
at
saying.
other ones that it is 65, then so well and good. But I mean, Rock Oyster Festival is a lot more remote. And it's down by the coast, isn't it? And it's going up as opposed to on the flat, adjacent to the people living at Whipsey. So
Just one thing as well. What about the time limit of the? Do we ask about that as well?
The operating schedule.
No,
so
the fact that the end date of the licensing.
as I said earlier, I mean, well, tell me which licensing objective that undermines.
if
It doesn't undermine a licensing objective. If they're, you know, you can't say there will be increased crime and disorder as a result of not having an end date. You cannot say there will be a greater threat to health and safety because of no end date. And the mechanisms are in place in the Licensing Act for if there were problems, if there was another large crush, for instance, of people, something dreadful happened up there, there are the mechanisms in place to look at that licence, to make changes or to even take that licence back.
I'm worried at all about the extension into Thursdays. Personally, I'm not, but I mean, it'd be basically, we aren't allowed to talk on anything that we haven't raised.
No. So if you are saying that you are concerned that the increase in noise is going to undermine public nuisance objective, then why not include plus the addition of Thursdays? And if you don't, if you don't mind, I would like to bring up this discrepancy where their not audible conditions finish an hour, or I think on the Sunday it's 2 hours before the actual terminal hour for entertainment. So we've got basically there's 3 points that we can put in under public nuisance, and like I say, that should get us that seat at the table that Joanna craves.
I think as
No, and it's,
I
an important
I think
seat to have.
because I'd actually quite like to understand the physics of this in terms of how much decibelage do they increase it coming out of the speakers. Because when it gets up to 120 decibels, you're causing hearing damage. As to achieve that extra 5 decibels lower down the scale. So I would actually quite like to understand the physics that goes on between this. And just because...
Very nice noise officers in Cornwall Council who would probably quite happily have a conversation with you if you dropped them an email.
Wonderful. Well...
Just,
what are you calling me there, Lamorna? I did like you. It can quickly change. Saying the chair's a dummy. Thank you. Anyway.
Because that was a lot.
You're pleased with that, is that okay?
Well, no, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
To not have to talk about it for hours and hours and
Yeah,
hours,
yeah,
unlike
no.
the Victoria.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of work and then a lot of talking.
Right, okay,
Right.
Wonderful. And we've voted on that, haven't we? Yes, we've done that. Yes. So the next part of the licensing then is the Robo Bar and Canteen.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can whip through these reasonably quickly, and I'm sure you're hoping the same
Then
thing
I
as
can
well.
bore you to death.
Robobar. So was until midway through last year, it was the Kahuna. The new premises, the Robo Bar and Canteen, described as a restaurant with bar. They are looking to sell alcohol until midnight. They are looking to have late night refreshment until midnight. I just want to check something here because I've written something down and I don't think it's correct. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the opening hours, if you don't mind.
It looked as though it was 2,300 hours to 00, which didn't seem
Yeah,
quite right.
so the hours the premises are open till is not till 3 o'clock in the morning, as I've written down there. It's till past midnight. So they've built in their half-hour drinking up time. Stop serving at midnight. Premises closes half an hour later. Off sales, because it is, as with many restaurants, there are on sales and off sales. Off sales have the correct condition in terms of they have to be in a sealed container. I think that the civilian police licensing officer has advised them about the CCTV conditions, because they are very thorough indeed. They've got a robust challenge 25 condition, and the plans are quite straightforward, and for the first time in ages I haven't got to go back to licensing and grumble about them.
What is it now?
Now it's empty. It's in a state of transition from being the Kahuna, which was a restaurant, to being another type of restaurant.
So not hugely different.
Not hugely different. I mean, my qualified view would be there's no reason to say no to this whatsoever.
So I'm going to propose no representation on this one. Seconder? All those in favour? Brilliant, thank you. And then we've got the cave activity bar. Sorry. Sorry.
Interesting one. So this is actually only a minor variation. It's not a full variation. So it's the kind of lighter touch in terms of changes. Sometimes the changes can be quite significant, but those are where they are taking stuff away from the license rather than adding it. So, and this is an application where really they are taking stuff away. So the description of the premises is an activity bar. They are reducing their licensing hours for all of their licensable activities, which is basically music and supply of alcohol. They are taking those back to midnight. And then the opening hours, past midnight. So they're keeping that 30 minutes important drinking up time. Previously it was 3 a.m. For all licensing for all licensable activities. The current conditions, the conditions on the current license really refer to when this premises operated as a nightclub rather than an activity bar, and really is no longer looking to operate as a late night venue. So they want to remove a number of conditions around SIA registered door staff, and some of the longer hours that were non-standard timings, Christmas, New Year, etc., like that. So
basically it saves them something if they...
Yeah, they are, as I say, kind of reducing, moving away from being a late night venue. Late night venues do require things like door staff, etc. They can be a fire point for crime and disorder. This whole premises is stepping back from that. The plans looked at far more straightforward than they had been previously. They are carrying out axe throwing and stuff like that in there, but they have been for quite. They have an escape room, but these aren't licensable activities. These I don't know what they are, martial arts or something. But again, I can see no reason whatsoever why we would say no to a premises that was going to be closing earlier rather than later.
So I'm happy to propose no representation. Seconder? Sandy, everybody? Whoa, yes. Awesome, thank you.
Why do you find that so funny?
I don't know, an activity cave.
We're throwing axes in it.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can sing along whilst doing that. Yippee! I don't know. It just. It just seems such a male fest, sorry. I mean, it's sort of like an activity cave with axe throwing in it. I mean,
Suggesting there ought to be knitting for the ladies there, because that's not a very
so
modern view.
we could have a licensed knitting fest or something like that in terms of, as an alternative, crocheting on Saturdays. Yeah. Oh dear, well, we're losing the plot. Oh gosh, we haven't even got to the planning applications anyway. Update Newquay AFC, Duncan.
So on the 7th of January, this committee agreed to submit a representation to the variations submitted by Newquay AFC. It was full of holes it needed. It wasn't that we were against it. It was a poor application. Changes were made to the application under the hearing documentation process while I was sunning myself by a swimming pool in Morocco. It was all ably handled by Jacob. An agreement was reached that satisfied your concerns, because you've emailed in and told him that. All of this took place outside of one of our meetings, so we just need to vote to ratify that the correct process was followed.
So I'm happy to propose process was followed, seconded by Sandy. All those in favour? Yeah, all hands up. Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, and Jacob did a lovely job.
Yeah, he was a star. Can we note thank you to Jacob for during your absence, because he was a star with triaging and everything. Yeah.
Brilliant, actually.
So from our triaging, then there's nothing on list 1. Everything's on.
5-day protocols.
Sorry. 5-day protocols, Duncan, go for it.
Ideally, again, very ably handled by Jacob in my absence. 5 Porth Parade, I can't remember what that one actually was, but 4 of you responded and you all chose to agree to disagree with the officer's recommendation.
Yeah.
And the other one was 39 to 41 4 Street. Again, only 3 of you responded, and that's slightly low, if you don't mind me saying so. 3 of you responded. The majority of you chose to agree to disagree with the officer recommendation to approve. Again, you are just ratifying the decision.
That was the rooms over the.
Over the amusement arcade.
Over the amusement arcade, yes, because the planning officer was letting pass that some of the accommodation was slightly smaller. Oh, that's right. I agree to disagree in terms of it's setting precedents. Then that's okay for people that they can't, places that they can't afford. Oh, it's all right if it's smaller, So I wasn't happy about that at all. But with the current, climate for any accommodation, it wasn't going to get anywhere. It wasn't worth upholding an objection.
Minimum space standards.
Yeah.
Minimum space rules.
Yeah.
I guess there is that bit of flexibility.
So. Yeah. So there we go. So wasn't happy about that. So I'm happy. Oh, sorry, Joe. Do you want to?
Can I just register my apologies? I just couldn't get to these 5-day protocols last week. I just wanted to sort of say that, put it on record.
Yeah, no worries. I know it's not always. I know it's not always easy.
I feel responsible, and I just wanted to make sure that I apologise for that.
Responsible, don't feel guilty though.
I wouldn't go that far.
No.
Have a biscuit.
So sorry.
Have a biscuit.
Yeah.
Biscuit.
Sorry, we've just got to ratify.
Yes, I know. Yeah, okay. I'm getting that. So I propose that due process was we ratified it. Seconded by Sandy. All those in favour? Wonderful. That's everybody's hands up. Thing. Okay, right.
I'm so grateful for you taking these on.
Well, I thought you would be. I thought you would be. Right, so people are going to have to bear with me, I'm afraid, with this. So I'm presenting the other 7 planning applications. Yeah. How does that badness look? Oh, Joe, you plugged me in, but you didn't turn me on, did you? And that sounded really bad too, didn't it? For the people of Newquay.
I'm sure, because it is actually on. Let me just. The green light is on.
Oh, okay. because it's still going down. It's not saying that it's plugged in. Is it?
Well, this
The box, can you...
green there, so it's coming out.
Bells.
It's not, yeah, the light is green, so it's that box there.
Oh, goodness.
Do you want to borrow my charger in case it's a charger?
Yeah, because I mean, I have got, it is a new charger. Can you just check that it's fully plugged in on my side of that box? The black box, that the cable is pushed in fully?
This one?
Yeah.
Well, if it isn't,
Yes, it's getting to the box, but is it coming out the box?
well, that's different. No, that cable is fused on the other side, so.
Yeah. Sorry, can I use somebody else's cable quickly?
Pass it over this way.
Does anybody need a break? No, you just want to be entertained, don't you? Wonderful, everybody.
Have another go.
Extension while you're doing
Yeah,
that.
maybe, if there is one. Oh, sorry, an extension to the meeting, sorry.
Well, this is all just confusing. Thank you, I am now plugged in. Go me. Right. Right, application 1, PA 26/00039, Oceanside Hotel, 22 Headland Road, Newquay. Proposed construction of a dormer. So if you can have a look at the location plan for this. So here we are, we're on the, let's put that on. There we go. This is where we're looking at. That's the road that goes to Towan here, or continue on down to the Headland Hotel. So we're on the corner there. If we can have a quick look at the street view. There's no change at the front. It's a rear dormer. So no changes at the front. So if we look at the proposed block plan, you see there's no extension to the building itself. The dormer is within the building.
This is the old Carn Moth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if we can have a look at the existing elevations with the focus on the north side. So this is the north side here, north elevation. And then you can see it's already got a dormer there. And it's got 2 dormers here as well on the extension at the back. And then and I think this is a dormer as well. And then if you look at the proposed, so it's extending then out from that bedroom, the 2 bedrooms there, I think, to give them more space within the bedroom. And with the windows. So if we can have a look with, like the opticians, and without. So there's windows already there, it's not creating new views, and there's already dormers there. There wasn't any proposed floor plan. That wasn't in the list of documents. Or is that it below? Are you in the existing? Perhaps it was.
That's the proposed.
Oh, that's the proposed, I'm sorry. So, yeah, but you'd expect it to come out here. And it.
That's your.
Oh yeah, so no, that's the front, isn't it? So yeah, so at the back. So then that's the existing, and then proposed. It's just extending it. It's just extending it there. It has got it there. Sorry. You're going to have to bear with me with these applications. I'm going to miss it. So there it is. So it's just literally making the rooms bigger. So, Joanna?
The only point I would make, because I can't see any big difference on this, is that it is actually an unregistered heritage asset, because it's of the same sort of ilk as the Bristol. So I think we just need to mention it, but I think we can say because it's just similar to the work at the back, it's not making a significant change. I suppose I shouldn't, because it's in my division. Somebody else propose it.
Yeah, Lamorna. Yeah, Lamorna's proposing it. Seconder. Sandy.
That's the vote to support,
Yeah.
yeah?
And everybody. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. All hands up. Wonderful. Thank you. Because that was the one. That was the one, Joanna, we might have had on list one, but you brought it up. So. Yeah.
We did that one for you.
Yeah. That's for you. Yeah. 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 Right, application 2, PA 26/00028, 29 Agar Road, change of use of grass area to extended domestic use and gravel parking space. This is a little bit bizarre. Right, so if we can Google map just to make sure we know where we are. Sorry, Duncan, I'm going too fast. So Agar Road, and I've lost, so we're sort of like here. So in the estate, we all know where Agar Road is. Yes, yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so if we can see the existing and the proposed details, right? So this is on one sheet. So if we can larger. So this is the house. So this is 29 Agar Road here. So there's a row of garages here, and then what this land, they have bought this land. This was just a piece of grass. And so what's happened is that the house has bought it, and they want to then have car parking down the bottom corner and then fence in this as a garden extension for their property. So what they're proposing then is to access their gravel parking over the corner. So we'll come back, probably we can have a look at it again in a minute to make it, so if you can enlarge it, oh, it's all right, if you can enlarge it even more and go over to the proposed. Yeah, so they're proposing it then to be gravel parking, so it's permeable, but they want to have this, they want to drop the curb, and they're going to be, I think they're keeping the wall, and they're going to be putting this timber fence up. So now, if we keep that now, and then if you look at the street view, then please, Duncan. There we go. So they've purchased this, what was effectively a bit of public greenery, I presume. I think they've purchased it from Ocean. They've got a letter from Ocean as a letter of support. So basically then they're going to be putting fencing along here and then there, gravelling this. So I imagine they've got to dig this out because we've got a difference in level, and removal of the stone wall for their entrance onto their parking onto Agar Road here, not entrancing onto here. But they've got a height difference, so I presume it's going to be dug out, and when they put the fence then like about here with the gate in, then I presume they're going to have a step up to it, but this bit of wall is going to be lost. So then if we go back to the proposed, yeah.
Can we out and see just how important this green area is to this particular?
Yeah, I know that one.
We can swing round to the other side.
That's where the pub used to be, wasn't it? Mulberry Bush.
So the wall here is the back of the garages.
Yeah. So is there actually a walkway along there?
No. Oh, there's a walkway here. Yes, so it's going to be cutting across here.
How many cars do you think they want on that gravel?
Well, I presume 2.
Well, I think that's why they want the corner. Because they want to get
So if we go back to, yeah, so I did then put for, then have a look at the planning statement.
Whether it's 1 or 2 spaces, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, 2 would
There
explain
you
it.
go.
2 would explain it. Yeah.
So it says that they're adding 1 space, so it's only for one. It's only for 1 vehicle. They're adding a space to 1 parking space to their property. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
They have 2. This will create a 3rd one. Right. Sorry. Where were we? Existing
So I
and
presume,
proposed again.
so actually, if you can just have a look at that letter, the Ocean letter. So I presume they've bought that land from Ocean.
Yeah, I think so.
So they've given permission then to install fencing along all property boundaries on the completion of the purchase of the land at Rawley Lane. All fencing must be in keeping with the existing surroundings.
But they mentioned nothing about parking there.
They don't mention anything about parking there. So, yeah, so can we go back to the proposed plan? So they note in this that all it is then that the stone wall is there, but it's got the drop curb as required to highways approval. Are they saying because the curb is already
Yes, it's
there?
already there.
Looked like
So-
it was.
So, but you see, because my guess is looking at this, that they are going to drop it. They've got the steps there up. And so all of that stone wall on that side is going to be removed.
It's going to have to be, yeah.
So they have,
But this stretch here.
yes,
They're also going to, because it's one of these stone walls where you step up to, isn't it? So the grass is on top of the
Yes,
stone
it is,
wall.
yeah.
Level with.
Yeah.
at the moment, but all of that strip of stone wall is going to be removed. This is going to be the entrance, and they're then cutting back the verge there, back up here. And then all of this is going to be drop curb, which is a lot more. So they're going to be coming in and off onto the road, across the pavement. Whereas I would have preferred it myself, that they entranced and exited on here for the drive-in for the car parks.
That would
Because-
probably be an issue where they had to spend an inordinate amount of money to have that right of access. So
Can I just say,
So then, if we can look at the street view again. Yeah, go for it, Margaret.
if they go in the way you're talking about, they don't have to apply for a drop curb, it's already there.
No, but they're going to have more. This piece of wall from about here to there is going to be removed. It's going to be dug out, and this piece of verge is going to be going back as well. There isn't an acknowledgement, I don't think, of the tree on the plan as to how far that's going to be. And this piece of curb here is going to be dropped too.
What I'm saying is, if they go in like you're saying, I would say let them go in that entrance and turn right onto it. They don't even have to apply for a drop curb
Yeah, yeah.
or put a drop curb in.
And
Are they proposing to put a fence right along that green area?
Yeah.
I don't think we can stop them doing that.
No.
Because I really regret losing that green area.
yeah,
But
I
is
know.
there land and they're entitled to put a fence
Yeah,
around it?
yeah. You don't need planning permission really for the fence. They're going to have steps up to it.
I suppose if they go in that other way, they might not get 2 cars.
They only want one though there.
Oh, they only want
Because they've got parking on the main house.
Oh, right, okay.
So why are they having to touch the verge?
yeah, see this. The plan is incorrect because it's
Yeah.
got the grass verge going all the way
Yeah.
along,
Yeah.
and the grass verge as it is at the moment is more in line with what's
No,
on
it's
the
not.
proposed
They
plan.
are foreshortening it. Go back to the street view.
What, not,
And then-
no, my point, I'm not saying you're wrong, my point is in terms of the plans,
The plan
this
Yeah.
one shows that the grass
Yeah.
verge goes to the end,
And it clearly
and
doesn't.
it quite clearly doesn't.
Yeah. It goes to the beginning of the curved section.
We don't know how far they're going to take this back, to be
No.
honest, because we
No.
haven't got a before and after
I can't
that's
see
reliable.
any verge to do.
I shouldn't think there'd be much take back, so they're just, literally, they're just going to drive the car, front of the car here, back of the car here. Sort of.
Duncan, are you saying that the verge alteration proposals are unclear from the plans? So, well, then maybe we could make that point, because I can't see a need to shorten the verge in anything that they're planning.
Not for one car.
And I regret, you see, if they turned in here and then parked,
Yeah.
then all they might lose is this little bit of corner of the wall.
Is it going to be a
Where-
slope or is it going to be dug out?
They're digging it out.
They're digging it out, because if you go back to the drawing, hang on a minute, Joe, sorry, and they don't say they're then going to extend this as a retaining wall here. So if we go back to the proposed drawing and we zoom back in, you see this boundary here is the current grass level, and then they're digging out. And then they've got the 2 steps going up to their property, and then there'll be a gate. So this side, of course, is not supported. It has no wall there. So how long do you think that's going to last when you've literally got a couple of foot of raised up bit of grass that's neither here nor there?
It's to say that the measurements of floor levels they're largely they look to be the same. The figures in red.
The 11, so 7.
Can you enlarge it, Duncan? I can't read it. Sorry.
Well, the other.
No, they're saying it's 27 centimetres in different.
11,900.
In the application.
No. I mean, this is all we've got.
Okay.
But they're actually saying the pavement outside
So
is
this
taller.
Here, 100.9. 100.9.
Yes, because that's the ground on the side that they're keeping. Then you just go back to the proposed. And then the gravel is going down to, what is that, 100.4? So they're taking...
They're going to keep this little bit of
No, this one on the gravel that they're going to be digging out.
verge that will drop
The
off.
plans aren't at all clear, because they've got a sign, a wiggly arrow going to the 600 metres high dry stone wall. Surely that's what they've got to knock out.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be there anymore.
No, well, that's it as it is at the moment. Then go to the proposed. Go to the proposed.
There's a wiggly line going in.
Yeah, well, I think what we can probably do is ask the question.
So that's the stone wall they're going to be removing. As to how long that distance is, well, it's just over 2 garages, isn't it? So if we go look at the street view again.
2.5.
So there's 1, 2 garages. So if we go from there to there, so that is going to be then the removal of the wall from there to here. 2.5 from that. And this little bit of the corner.
I think the mechanics of it, in terms of what they are and aren't digging out, is one thing. But I think, to be honest, I think that it's probably about the loss of the green verge, isn't it? As a benefit to everybody or not.
Yeah.
I think the fact is they don't need a drop curb. They could go in, if they're going into the
If they're going
garages
on
and
that
drive
side,
in.
and they
because
wouldn't
what
lose
they're
the
going
wall.
to do is they're
We
going
might not have a legal right of access, though. We might be able to say, oh, this is a much better idea, but it's quite probable that they would have to pay £20,000 for that right of access.
Well, it's their bit of land. They've just bought it off Ocean.
They've just bought this road.
Yeah, the bit of the green.
They've
No,
bought
I
the
know,
green,
they've bought the green, but are you suggesting that they come up?
Just
this-
go in and drive in.
Yeah, so, but they don't have a right of access onto
don't
this
know
piece
that,
of road.
so-
No, I'm suggesting
yeah.
though that they probably don't.
I mean,
I don't
personally,
know it,
I
I
would
don't
go
know
to
it.
object, because the thing is, they're going to reverse out onto Rawley Lane. Rawley Lane's a really busy road. There's
Yeah.
a bus goes down, always cars parked there. Whereas the
Yeah.
other way, they would reverse back up into that, towards the car park.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's reasonable to explore what you're saying, Duncan, so maybe we should return that as a comment.
Can we object on the basis that the plans are not clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the
And we
height
have concerns about the
levels.
safety
are
of the
not clear.
cars going in and out of this new park.
Yeah.
Reversing onto
Yeah.
the public highway.
The
And we're
trouble...
concerned at the loss of verge.
Yeah.
Bad enough, they're losing the green, losing the green.
And you see, the tree is right there, so it is right very close to the tree.
Is this a second picture or has it swung round? Because it looks completely different.
Well, sorry, I have shifted it.
You drove.
The only thing about the loss of the green, though, if somebody's bought it, as long as their fence isn't 1.8 metres high, they can fence it as they
Yeah,
like.
I can't stop them losing the green.
No.
I don't like them losing the green area, I can't stop them.
But yeah,
Right,
we can
it's
say
the
that we
verge
regret
I'm worried
it,
about.
but it's not. They won't carry any weight.
No,
And-
so it's the
and-
verge.
And that tree, so if they're going to... propose for another hour, we're going to need the hour. Second, all those in favour of extending the
I
meeting?
think we're spending much, can
Yes.
I propose we object and ask for clarification? We're
Yeah.
concerned about the safety, loss of
I
the
think
verge.
the reversing out by that tree. The trouble is sort of like a lot of, if you scan onto the other side of the road, people have got all their drives and they're driving over the pavement, you know, that they've already
And
put
they've
in.
not included the tree on the plans, so.
No.
I think we've got enough to object.
Yeah, so Margaret was proposing, seconder. Joanna seconded. All those in favour of rejection? Yep. That's everybody. Yeah. Brilliant, thank you. Right, application 3, PA 26/00046, 5 St Anne's Road. Proposed single-storey rear and side extension to provide improved living accommodation and an integrated garage together with associated works, including internal remodelling. Right, okay, so if we can have a look at the location plan first, please, Duncan. So we are on the north side of St Anne's Road. Now, this plan is wrong. Their block plan is wrong. So then if we have a look at the...
When you say it's wrong,
Yeah, it's not what the current, because this has already had, buildings already had extensions and put things on it, and that's not reflected on the block plan. So if we have a look at the street view, so it's already had this extension put on it, so it lost its garage. This is the extension that's been put on. And we need to bear in mind then the proximity to its neighbour here, because effectively what they're proposing is, well, we'll see in a minute, is the extension is going to be coming out with the garage, and it's going to be very close to the neighbour, and they have windows there. It's very odd, this, because when you go up and down the road, it reverts to an older image. So if you go to its... Sorry, yeah. So go the other way. No, go the other way. There we go, and it goes back to how it was before. So this is, I think, 2010. So pre that extension. And then if you go back down a little bit, and then we've got the extension, which has obviously happened before, you know, since then. Right, so where are we? Street road. So if we go to the proposed,
that doesn't match.
when we get to this, when we get to the existing floor plan, you'll see it won't match. Right, so this is the proposed block plan then, and you can see actually it's really close to the neighbour. It's really tight. So if we have a look at the existing site plan. That's it. There we go. You can see it's filled in. See how that's different to the block plan. That's the existing plan at the moment. Do you see that, Duncan?
When you say block plan, do you mean the location? You mean the
You mean
location
the
plan?
location? You see, so
I
that.
can't see the difference.
Okay, so if you look at the screen a minute.
Oh, sorry, the screen.
Well, I was going to say, because I've got the pointer at the screen, Duncan.
Oh, right, the screen, sorry.
So this has all been filled in, and you can see that it's extended out to here, so it's not flush with the neighbouring property. Go back to the proposed block plan, and there you see that there's a gap. See, there's the gap. that has been filled in.
Right, I do
That's why
apologise. I was
it's-
looking at
yeah.
the front of the property.
Yeah,
not
no,
the
no,
rear
it's
of
the
that.
rear. So
Okay.
both the proposed block plan, the site block, you know, the location plan are out of date plans from what it is compared to the existing floor plan.
So are you suggesting we kick it back and get accurate plans?
Yeah.
So, but I think there's more we need to object on before we get to that. So, so the existing floor plan. So then we look at the proposed floor plan. So what it's doing is putting then the garage at the side, and then extending this area here, wrapping it around there, and then they're knocking walls out. So they're going to have a roof light in here, and they're going to have concertina doors into their garden, and then they've got the doors here. So they're wrapping around. That's what it looks like from the roof. So it's quite a large extension wrapping around then their property. Yeah, you compare it with the existing floor plan again. That's the existing. So that's their internal modifications. So they're not extending beyond. What they're doing is then they are putting then their garage and then having this little bit here from, so all this is new. All this is new. And then the garage and that utility room there. What did I put then? What we're looking at next?
Do you see any problem doing that?
We've got windows here, and if we have a look back to the proposed block plan, then they've got windows here. And and then if we look at the street view, you'll see how close that is to the neighbours. Because I think that, so that's the neighbours.
Windows on the side there.
Yes, and there's windows here. So that is effectively a really short distance.
Are the windows going to face the neighbour?
Yes.
I think it looked like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like, but it's going to be, it's.
Lounge.
Yeah, from their new lounge, and they're taking this off, and it's going to be all a pitched roof. So if I continue, yes. So if we have a look then at existing elevations as well. Sorry, existing elevations. That's existing from the front here, and that's it at the moment on the east side. So all they've got there at the moment is, there is one window there already and a little side door. And then if you look at the proposed elevations and watch the roof change. So they're putting, effectively, they're putting a much larger roof on top of their property. They're putting solar panels. This is then going to be the side with the windows here, which are by the neighbours. This is the garden at the back. So they're changing the pitch of the roof and everything on the extension that's already there.
What's behind these windows? Sorry, I'm
It's that, no, that's okay. It's if you go back to the proposed floor plan,
Dining area.
the little window I think is the utility room here, and then that's their living space here. That's their living space. So those, in my view, those ought to be opaque if that goes ahead. But the proximity of the garage wall affecting the outlook then of the neighbour, we're talking, a really short distance, like really just a few metres, maybe 5 metres, which I'm not sure about outlook. And with actually going to a higher pitched roof over the front, I'm not sure then that is going to create shading then that needs to be checked for shading onto them when the sun is on the west. I mean, obviously the front of the properties are facing south. That's not a problem. But when the sun moves around to the west, then you're going to have, because of that increased bulk on the roof, then you're going to have shading from what they've got at the moment as their current extension.
So you're proposing objection?
I'm going to propose an objection. All those in favour of objection?
Yep.
Are you okay on that, Duncan? Yeah? Yeah.
Sorry if I'm asking.
No. Please do. Yeah. And all,
I've looked at the applications. I'm kind of trying to understand it all.
there was also going to be a Velux window in just for light of the loft space. It wasn't being made into a room, as far as I know. Yeah, that wasn't necessarily an issue. And the extension at the back wasn't necessarily, it's that proximity to the neighbour. Right, application 4 then, PA 25/0933637 is 63 Bedowen Meadows. Proposed rear ground floor extension together with alterations include the replacement of an existing flat roof with new pitch roof to detached bungalow. Now, I think somewhere we might have a... Yeah. Well, no, it's really odd because it's questions that this lady, a neighbour, Mrs. Juliet Springer, has asked of the planning officer, of which, so it was sort of clarification for a lot of it on boundaries and things. So I don't know how to really to address that.
It's
but
not listed as an
objection, no. I think they are just, as I said, queries.
More about answering questions than giving them.
Yeah. Then, yeah. Right, so site location, please, Duncan. Now, it's really odd, this property, because it doesn't have a road access to it that I could make out. So,
Bedowen Meadows is one of the ones behind.
So this is the front of Bedowen Meadows. This is the footpath which gives you access to the property. It doesn't have vehicular access. And even round the back, you see that it's all its boundary, or what that is on the southeast, is covered by this house here. So sort of, I did one of those, Google Drives round the block, and you can't see it. So I couldn't get a street view of it, is what I'm saying. Sticky gate and a letterbox. That doesn't sound appetising.
And it doesn't open up on the planning portal. Did you
No,
open up?
it's coming error.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting an error message on that now, are you, like I was earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we can have, so that's the site location. So if we can have a look at the satellite image of it, so that's why I put the satellite image in, and it's not that one, it's this one here. Okay, there we go. So it's a very basic, but as I said, we've got no street view of it.
There's no street.
There's no street. So if we can have a look at existing plans and elevation, please, Duncan. So here we go. It's footpath to access the property, and it's a basic small property, 2-bedroom, basic kitchen, dining room, etc.
Does it have a garage?
No, because there's no access for a car.
I'm only teasing.
Stop teasing me. I've had a frazzled day as it is, and it's just like. I'll be just sat here weeping. Okay, so it's very simple dwelling. So then, if we have a look then at the proposed plan and elevation. Yeah, and I think if you scan it, so it's extending
by going directly.
It's extending then at the back, and then if you scan down, you've got the elevations for it there, which are at a different angle, really helpful. So you can actually see it's extending it quite a lot. But it is a very small property to begin with. It has garden front and back. So before and after. It's maintaining it being single story with then it's got the creation of sort of like the garden space and things, and it's got then the pitched roof, which looks like it's going to be a bit higher than the current roof height, but not by much. So actually, if we look at the design statement, it's actually got photos of it in there. So if we slowly scan through that, there it is, sort of very simple design at the moment, surrounded by hydrangeas. And then it gives like a 3D SketchUp image of what it's looking like. So you can see it's extending quite a lot. But it has the garden. I've got no problems with that. And I think if you
put the rear extension in and there, put the pitch roof on what's currently planned.
Yeah. And just improving it inside. It's because I can imagine it's very dated in there. And then I just had the public comment, which, as if you read it, it's about questions rather than an actual objection as such. So, and it's got Velux windows that putting in. I think the boundaries are quite secure. So I'd propose no objection pending that there's no issues of overlooking with neighbours, just to check. It'd be good if they got some renewable energy up there and some water retention, so that G2 blurb statements, bird boxes and bee things, that would be quite good, please. So do I have a seconder for that? Yeah, Sandy second that. Yeah, have we got no objection? Yeah, so, but you're putting your hand up. Yeah.
I was just looking at the sketch model.
Yeah.
That's all of you no objection,
Yeah.
I don't know how they'll do it though. How will they get all the building materials and everything in
I don't know, along the footpath and park on the road.
Because it's not far. You park in the down Meadows, presumably.
Yeah. I mean, they might have a garage.
Question, and should you be asking the question about construction management?
Yeah. Have a
Plan.
Okay. Yeah. Structural management plan.
Because it can really
limited access.
And it
impact
shouldn't.
people when
Yeah.
suddenly they've got huge piles of bricks on their little.
There should be no blocking of that footpath.
Which is what they're
Obstruction. Yeah. So whether there wants to be a public access statement to go with that, I don't know. Right, application 5, PA 25/09092, 8 St Mary's Road. Oh, you're going to laugh at this one. I thought, this is going to be okay.
Yeah, till we got that.
Right. Okay.
It's one of those funny
So,
gaps, isn't it?
oh, you're going to have it's even when you said, can we have a look at the location plan? It's not going to take long.
So much.
Yeah.
Already.
Location plan. There we go. So, Yeah, St Mary's Terrace. So from the drive, it's the third house along. So sort of like measuring, because it's quite difficult on terraces, isn't it? Which one along is it? So if we have a look at the street view. So we go 1, 2, 3. It's this one here. No, this one here.
With the green door.
With the green door, this one here. And you can see that it's got a dormer. So it's proposing dormer at the front and the rear. So you can see that it has dormers already as its neighbours. So I thought, oh, well, it's got dormers. You know, we can't say a lot about that. So keep an eye on the line at the top of the bay.
So those two dormers are the adjacent buildings?
Yes, yes. But what you need to do is keep an eye on this line at the top of the bay windows.
Right.
Okay, so then can we have a look at the proposed plan and elevations?
Yeah.
Ah, right. So it goes, right, okay.
Plus, then having little turret roof, plus a little dormer to one side.
Could you expand that a bit, please?
I certainly can. Yeah, it was Tower Road, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it looked quite nice.
But I suppose the only thing, they are asking for permission for this, whereas they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're quite right, yeah. They had one permission and then did
So-
something else.
So that's a window, presumably, on the side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, and they don't show the adjacent dormers either.
It's rather nicer with the adjacent dormers.
Yeah.
So what they're extending then is sort of like the loss of that line by putting another story on the bay window, and then having a steep turret slated. Oh, I don't know how you describe that. Those triangles.
That's just a hipped roof, I suppose.
Yeah. And they're saying that actually this is all going to be slate, even though they haven't indicated it with the thing. They've indicated here that this is all going to be hanging slate, whereas it suggests that it's going to be rendered.
Can we look at these streets, Steve, again?
And look at the street, and then you pan down the street.
Yes.
So if you pan down to your right, I think, Duncan.
It's a funny angle, isn't it? This
No, the other way. Okay, the other way. There we go. So we've got all the way down, we've got that line, and then it's going to be lost.
But isn't it
Well,
lost
you
already?
could argue that the dormers are kind of really
Grotesque.
the dormers are really the line anyway.
But there is that line at the top of the bay windows is continued all the way down.
And the dormers are set, I can't really see.
Oh, I
The
see
dormers
what you
are
mean,
set
they're
back.
set back in, yeah.
And they're set back in. Whereas this then is going to be another extension of that bay going up with the roof.
So you're saying it's out of character with the rest of the terrace?
So I'd argue it's out of character
Yeah.
with the rest. So if they had just put in a dormer going straight across, sorry, can you scan back down again so we can actually, that's it. So if they put in for a dormer here, then I wouldn't actually have had a problem.
Yeah, I see
But
what
the
you mean.
extending up of losing of that quite distinct line as a heritage line,
Yeah.
Joanna,
Yeah, I was thinking of Atlantic Road, actually, where they've done everything different.
Yeah.
then that is a concern to me. And then they've got the dormer at the back, which is neither here nor there. We can't see it from the road. And
I suppose the problem they've got is that they're so close to that other dormer that if they try to put a dormer at the front...
but they are putting a dormer in as well.
As well to the side.
A small one.
Yeah,
That one,
but it's still quite close to the,
it's going to be very close
you
to
know,
it.
to the dotted
But
line.
then if you look at the dormers down the road, they're all close to each other.
Yeah.
So you look at that to there.
Some are adjoining, some aren't.
Yeah.
The thing is that the plans are drawn as if you're floating 20 yards up in the sky,
Yeah.
whereas your view
Yeah.
is coming up.
Yeah.
Could you have a look at the one which is, if you're looking at your screen, it will be to the left where there's those two small dormers. Can we just have a quick look at, drive down a bit, see what that looks like?
But you see, they've all kept the
They've all kept the line.
Yeah.
They've
the
all
line.
kept the
Yeah.
line. And it is quite a strong line. So,
Doesn't work. Is this something else? Oh, there we go. I mean, I could just simply make the point from a functional perspective. Their proposal doesn't give the same living space as if they had a dormer which is similar to the neighbour. It just seems like a harder place to plan for when you make a turret and a tiny dormer. But that's neither here nor there, I suppose.
Are we happy with that?
I mean, we'll have a look at the back as well then, Duncan. So if you want to shrink it down again, or scan.
If it was a different shape.
So that's it. So obviously sometime they've put an extension on the back, and then they've had they're proposing then the dormer on the back.
Yeah.
You see, so if they propose that at the front with the other ones,
Yeah,
I wouldn't have had an
ideal.
issue.
Yeah.
It's not the loss of that. What I
Line.
see is that very clear line going around the bay windows by extending up. And if you look at the proposed front again, I think, do you see that we've lost that line
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Could we do it fine at the end of the terrace?
Yes, maybe if it was the end when it would, but it's not,
No.
and nobody else has.
In isolation, it looks quite nice, but when you fit it into
With the others, yeah.
Put it in total street.
And the thing is, they've got a little side dormer like the others, haven't they? If
As
they
well.
just do it all like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you were to instruct me to do so, I can go back to Cornwall Council and detail why it's out of character with the rest of the street scene.
Yeah.
Are you
Because that's what
okay?
you've all
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah.
several times.
So I propose objection on the loss of the street scene and that heritage line around the bay windows.
Yeah.
That we see where they're coming from with the dormer extensions, and we don't have, we're happy with that. That maybe to go back and look at it. So Sandy, you're second. All those in favour of objection?
Yeah, I'm going to
Jo-
abstain.
Are you abstaining?
Yeah, I'm not.
So Joanna and Joe are abstaining. I mean, it might come back, his 5-day protocol, that the planning officer doesn't have an issue, and there we go. Okay, Duncan,
Yeah, no,
got
that's
on that. Right, 6 was the Hotel Victoria. So application 7. Oh gosh, it was this one back again. Right, so PA, yeah, so the PA 25/08081. It was the trees. So we booted it back at the last meeting because in the planning application it had 5 trees rather than 3. So now they've resubmitted it again with 3. So it's exactly the same, and they're proposing then for changes to conditions 5 and 6, which is due to drainage and the protection of the curtilage around the trees.
I'm
It
really,
is
really
still-
sorry, I've not got the documents, so I'm just going to have to find them on the planning register.
It is still, oh gosh, really? Oh,
Yes.
because
I
I
don't
go
quite
back to
know.
documents from 24 application. So
There's
sorry
nothing
people,
there.
can we cast a mind back that basically
Our objection was 5 rows.
it was 5 and a 3,
3.
but so we still haven't got the tree officer update.
Right.
So what I propose is no objection pending the tree officer update report. Can I have a second? Yeah, approval on that. So Sandy's second. Are we okay? Are we okay with no objection on that? And Joe's going to.
No, that's fine. I'm just about catching up, so it's fine.
Okay. We had looked at the documents before, but honestly, they took a time to find them because it was going back to where the conditions were under the 24 planning application. So it just, yeah.
Okay.
And that we didn't have a problem, it was just the application form, so, and that it hasn't got the tree officer update. Is that all right, Duncan?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, okay,
Okay.
so application 8. So this is going to be a little bit long-winded, as I'm afraid. Right, PA 26/00306, 10 Witch Hazel Way, construction of a side extension to create a ground floor garden room with a first floor balcony, don't get too twitchy, above, together with the introduction of slate-hung tiles to the first floor elevations. So we saw the application of opposite this one, and we objected to the balcony, and it went through. You'll see what I mean in a minute.
So shall I put my hand up, because that's my nephew's house that you're talking about the balcony, and the balcony, I'm happy to go outside if you're going to discuss that.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Margaret.
I'll be only outside.
Sorry, Margaret.
And the balcony, you're really trustee.
But the thing is, with what we're going to be looking at, the balcony is in a going to be a different direction. So, if we can have a look at the location plan, please, Duncan. So,
Can I just say, do I have to go out because it's not my nephew putting the planning in, my nephew was across the road.
I don't know why.
Are you declaring a non-pecuniary interest?
Yeah, I mean...
Yes, then you do.
No, you're talking about my nephew, that you didn't...
I just mentioned, but I'm just mentioning, you see, their balcony opposite is facing the street.
Yeah.
The one that's being proposed is going to be looking over the neighbour.
Right.
It's in a different direction.
He's not the nephew.
Public looking in.
No.
Would they?
You spoke about the building across the road that you objected to, but then it got planning for a balcony. No, not you, the room did. So that's my nephew, but that's already been passed.
That's already gone.
How I'm interpreting this is that if there is an issue about overlooking...
What?
Kevin Mogg is not a relative of mine.
No, but what I'm saying is that the argument they put forward is that there's a precedent with the balcony over the road.
It's safer to go out, Mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go and make a cup of tea.
Yeah. No. Okay, so this is the property we're going to be looking at. So we're up from the Gannel. Like from the turning left up from Furniture World, that side of the Gannel, yeah. So this is the property we're looking at. The property which had the balcony accepted is opposite. So their balcony is here. We'll see it in a minute from the street view. So basically looking out onto the road, but they can then get a glimpse of the estuary looking down the side. What we're going to be looking at is then their balconies here is going to be on top of the neighbour to the west here. Okay, so street view, please, Duncan. So here we have 10 Witch Hazel Way, and what they are proposing then is the extension down here to create a sunroom, so where their little shed is. Maybe if you go down the road just a little bit. So oh, it's too far. Go zipping up and down. So it's filling in this space here, really, where the shed is, and then having a balcony on top. Then it is a hedge here at the moment. So but there's the neighbour there. So you can see there's actually relatively a short space between balcony activities and viewing. Then the hedge is on the neighbour's side. There's nothing to stop them that they don't cut that down in the future. You can't assume it's always going to be there with the neighbour. Now, if you scan around the other way, this is the one on the corner. So this is really interesting. This one here is fuzzed out, and I didn't know they could do this for an address. With every direction you look at, even if you go around the corner here and look back, it's all fuzzed out.
Why?
I don't know.
There's a naked lady there, wasn't it?
I don't know. It's to do with the... I didn't. Oh, no, well, it's a new house, it's a new build. Yeah. They've asked for it to be scrubbed out. No, I've never seen it before. No. So we took us ages, didn't we, triaging, going, whoa. And even if you go around the corner and round the back, the rear of it's scrubbed out too. So that was, I don't know if you can remember it, that was the application for the balcony. But this is facing the road. And then there's quite a distance then from that and the neighbours from standing on there compared to then the balcony on there. Right, so if we have a look then at existing elevation, existing elevations, I'll trawl through them. So this is the street view we've got. This is the existing. And then if we look then at proposed elevations, you'll see then they're making this extension here, and then this is the balcony that's going to be at the side. So this then here is then going to be looking down on the neighbour below, or the hedge. So it's not a large extension, and it's basically a balcony from their lounge, I think, from memory.
Windows there already, is it?
Yeah, there's this
Yeah, it's this one here.
yeah, there's a window there already.
It's the fact you're standing on the balcony.
Yes, and that's extending, then it's notably nearer the neighbour property.
I'm not saying
No.
I'm not saying don't object, I'm just saying it's
You tend to object based on the noise of people going
Yeah.
out. That can disturb.
But that view is getting much closer to the neighbour. So yes, it's not necessarily, because effectively you're going to have doors there from your lounge. Yeah, otherwise it's sort of like, yeah. So if we look at the existing plans, so that is, it's a pretty basic design really. So we're looking at this edge here. And then if we look at the proposed plans, on that edge there, the other way around. So it's quite wide. So it's the width of their, whatever they have as their dining area, being extended outwards. And that they've got on their plans dining table, chairs, seating.
They're set up above, aren't they? Is that right?
They're above the house, yeah, because it's on the hill. Yeah. So I sort of then put in for, like the link to the Cornwall Interactive map, Duncan, because then we can measure the distance. I think I gave you a link, didn't I? Because I gave you a scaled. Yeah. Right, so, oh gosh, get my bearings. No.
Is the only thing you're worried about the proximity to the neighbour?
Yeah.
I'm concerned how time's flying. Do you want to...
This is going to be it. This is, I think, we've got the thing.
So it's no new view, but a balcony overlooking a neighbour, potential noise, nuisance.
Yeah,
So you feel strong enough about it to object rather than going out to no objection subject to the confirmation?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I'm proposing objection on that and proximity to the neighbour from noise nuisance. And I think the neighbour's got overlooking, it's got windows there. So, I mean, it has a hedge at the moment, but I can see if you're stood there, you'll be overlooking the hedge effectively. And again, the planning officer will come back if you're going, we don't have an issue. So even though they talk about, I've got further design statements and things, and it talks about the precedents. It talks about the precedent in number 11 opposite, but I said my argument is the balconies are facing different directions. So if you say we acknowledge that there's a balcony opposite at number 11, but it's in a different direction, facing a different direction and a different height, and is overlooking the road. Yeah.
So do you have a second?
Yeah, seconder. So those in. Yeah, objection on that. Thank you. Thank you. So, okay, where are we? We're back on. I'm just going to go back on here. 11. Terms of reference, risk assessment updates. Duncan?
Nothing there.
No. Right, working parties. So we're going to be talking hopefully briefly the car parking working party, weren't we? On the derelict, yeah.
We got a couple of extra ones because the storm damage.
Going to put on them.
Storm damage has made them derelict, but we'll report back at next time about what they're saying at the meeting.
How's your working party been so popular?
Okay, the Newquay Neighbourhood Plan one is purely suggesting that we write a letter to Cornwall Council saying that we are making the opening moves to develop a coastal change management plan, which we haven't got and which we said we would do. And the plan is basically saying, what do we do when the cliffs fall? Now, I don't know if you saw that thing that came round today, I think, about the Mount Wise, not White Wise, let me see, the Great Western Cliffs Falls and what are you going to do about it? And basically the response is nada. And then they're discussing it between various people, including the lawyers. But effectively, the cliff falling has put the risk on Cliff Road at risk. And Cornwall Council saying, tough. So that's a huge thing to do. Now, the cliff person I was talking to on another issue, Paul, was saying that, you know, in future they probably wouldn't even accept a coastal change management area without a coastal change management plan, which is a huge job, and I think it's probably the wrong thing to say, because I think it would really put a stopper on a neighbourhood plan development. But in the meantime, I think we could do with one. And really all I was proposing is that we would write to the Cliff team and say we are making the opening moves to produce a plan. Since we are the first one, we would be grateful for any advice they might like to give us as to what we should be doing. And if they would like to consider us as a pilot, we'd be only too willing. Sandy, you're looking puzzled. We have now had 3 major falls in the last couple of months. We had the one that was the Southwest Water, and I can never remember what that beach is called, Tulkarn. So we had one on Tulkarn. We then had the one on the on Great Western, which basically the one that's by Aldi's, which undercut what was there. And I've been watching that for years, seeing it. And the third one is up above. Is above Fly. I don't think that was a cliff fall. I think that's a landslip.
Yes, it's not, because it's in from the edge of the thing, so that would be a slope failure. A lot of our so-called cliffs are building debris when they built. When they built the Atlantic, they would have covered the cliff with debris. Then it grows over the top, and it looks like a cliff. And to me, that's what that one looks like. So it's more of a landslip than a cliff fall. But there you go. So that probably wouldn't be included, but I think it's something. So all I'm doing is making a proposal that we write a letter on those lines
to the Cliff team and say,
Yeah,
help.
yeah, yeah.
And we can, well, we're not doing the name. Oh, I did go to a training session on the new local plan, and I said, what are the chances of them actually getting their new local plan in by 2029? And he was saying, well, we are hopeful, in a very, very dubious voice.
Okay.
So I think it would be extremely unlikely that we get a new neighbourhood plan in this current, it's in current environment, because they haven't even been given the starting gun yet.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question about... there was an email that went round about the Coastal Partnership quarterly meeting.
Yeah, I clicked on to go onto that. Yeah.
Do we normally go on that, or?
Well, it's up to you.
Yeah, so it's purely voluntary.
Yeah. I mean, I've done to join it. Yeah, put it in my diary. The diary and Teams thing. Yeah.
Is it a council thing or a?
Yeah, it's the yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was an email that came round today or yesterday, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay. Nothing else?
So that's a proposal, do I?
Oh yeah. Proposing a letter. So are we doing that all through the neighbourhood plan? Do we need to have a neighbourhood plan meeting group?
Let's
And it goes to
first, and then if Duncan, we can work on the letter, but again, it's just to get the authorisation.
Okay. Yeah. So you're proposing that second? I'll second that. All those in favour? Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. The last thing was the Parking and Highways Working Party, which is by tomorrow we've got to get our comments in on the changes. Changes their parking rates. Fundamentally, what they are proposing is in ignoring the rest of the county. But for Newquay, they are now these comments here are Jessie's comments. I've knocked something together, which I'm hoping Duncan can find as a response. And we've had it was about midnight to this morning. So.
If you don't mind, sort of foolishly, I brought that up, and I've got a closed Word, so I'm just going to have to open my emails again. I do apologise.
Yes, sir. What they have done is they have produced a form which is pretty horrid to complete, and they're being quite limited, so they give you a front page and they can say you can write on the other side. What they are proposing as far as Newquay is concerned is to start winter charging in 5 of our car parks. They call them the coastal car parks, and of course they're not. So it's Tregunwell, well, I'll start alphabetically, Albany, Belmont, Dane, Tregunwell and Watergate. And they want to introduce banded, quite expensive parking in the winter, which I think everybody is objecting to from the bid up to, and basically where the argument is, what they did was when they introduced the banding, they reduced the prices of all these outlying car parks by something like 50p. And as a result, they've lost tens of thousands of money, and probably £60,000. It's a bit difficult to tell the exact figure because some of the money they've lost is because they put a building site on Tregunwell, but effectively that's the sort of level of money. And they seem to be trying to recover it. So 3 years ago when they produced the bandings, they suggested reducing the charges in the summer and then charging in the winter, which was, I think we described it as odd. So what they're now trying to, and they reversed that, they took away the winter charging. What is now happening is the current administration is now saying we want to charge these car parks in the winter. And I think most everybody I've spoken to has been, and including the Working Party, has objected on this. So what I did was I just sort of did a sort of summary on the front page, and this is really what we're looking for, is authorisation to submit this or submit something similar to it.
Can I just, I mean, I have looked at this and I've got no issues with it. I'm happy to support that. So
yeah, well, it's the second page that's interesting. So Jessie has come in with fair enough, I thought she might, but she's been on leave. So, but basically we're saying winter charging is on our outline car parks. We object in the strongest possible terms. See the following page, summary, blah, blah, blah. You can read that as well. They make it just a little bigger because I can't read that.
Thanks, Rick.
Upward arrow somewhere? Right. Impose a direct charge on local people, discourage them from visiting the town with an irritable effect on businesses and our high street and increasing congestion, because what's going to happen is that people won't go into the car parks, they go and find the free parking in the streets. Increasing congestion while not generating any significant extra income. When you think that Albany is right next to Tulkarm, Tulkarm is free in the winter, Albany is charged. How much income do you think Albany is actually going to make? And then there's a general 6% rise in tariff. What is worrying is the fact that we've got the footfall figures. I haven't got them here, but there's a huge drop in footfall in Newquay in this year. And it doesn't make sense because there's been an increased income to Cornwall Council from the car parks. So what seems to be happening is we've got more, the Cornwall Council are getting more, fewer people are spending more money to park in our car parks, is fundamentally. Yeah. And I think part of it is losing Tregonwell, and part of it is losing the free parking after 4 o'clock. So anyway, but I'm just saying we need to look at it. And we'll ask our local CCA members, i.e. me, to supply and discuss the details. And then the Tulkarm, they want to make that a long stay car park. All our car parks are long stay, apart from the little one, Fall Street. Yeah, it's coming to me. I don't understand why all our car parks are long stay. I can't understand why our central car parks are. So I've just said, but why? Then on the second page, this is where we get. So we sort of, I started with a large quote from what we said in 2023, which is, this is stupid. I'm not going to read it through because it's boring. Doesn't seem to be an appreciation of Newquay's demographic and the effect of seasonal changes, supermarkets on the outskirts of town with their own parking. Basically, everything's dragging it away. Winter charging is not going to help. And it says it seems an odd solution to reduce charges in the season and then charge in the winter, but that is the inevitable problem with a rigid system like the one that is grafted on the car parks, for which it is not suitable. This is the banding. I've already said what we need to do. If you carry on to the next bit, Duncan.
I mean, it seems like with Dane Road is that you're going to have to, for Remembrance Sunday and those sort of events, you're going to have to get a parking ticket for those people that go up there for.
One, that's exactly what I was saying. I really intend on Dane to discharge people
for war veterans that. It's so inapplicable.
On the tail is if you go down a bit, and this is the bit that Jessie is worrying about. One exception, where charging might be appropriate, could be at Watergate, one of our 2 true coastal car parks, the other being Tower Headland, which we note, unlike Watergate, is proposed to be free in winter. And then we say, no, they're not at the banding proposed. Bearing in mind the Watergate Hotel provides a car park that is cheaper, better quality, including electric charging, and is better positioned, seems no point charging more than that car park. I've got no idea what it charges. We would recommend a more sensible daily winter charge of £1.50 to £2, as with other cars. Now, Jessie has come back and says, her comment is, no, we don't want that bit. We don't want to volunteer charging at Watergate. What does everybody think?
I mean, that's our local comment. I mean, that, on a Sunday, if there's good surfing, it's so popular and it brings money to the local businesses there.
And to be honest, we can get space in the Watergate Bay Hotel car park.
And but also with Watergate, they're proposing it's going to be for camper van parking as well, was it motorhome parking? So I don't know if they're giving a designated area.
It's only motorhomes that are completely with their own self-contained. Say the normal camper can't go in there.
But how many? But how many? Is it going to fill up with motorhome parking, because that's a really cheap campsite for motorhomes in the summer. And there's going to be buildings starting at Watergate in the front car park with the development of their shop and everything, and the development of that. I think that's going to be happening soon. So that car park's going to be shrinking. And what is the limit? And who's going to monitor those limits for motorhomes on that rear one? Because I can imagine you could go down there and it's full. If you go to the public campsites in France or Scotland, they're full of motorhomes.
I don't object to having somewhere to park motorhomes.
I'm not, but if it's a designated area, and who's going to monitor that, and what's that going to be marked out as?
But it's taking from the campsites who have to pay all those taxes to run a business really up the road. I mean, the campsites just up the road, aren't they, for motorhomes, like Traveller's Rest. I don't know what it's called next to it, but a lot of people go there in the summer.
So first things first, do you think take out the bit about accepting parking at Watergate?
I think it needs to be free. So, you know, it's free winter parking.
So we could take that whole, I could take that whole paragraph out. And I mean, we could say we note that Watergate, one of our 2 true coastal car parks, the other being to go and suggested to be charged while the other one isn't, and then pick up what Jessie says about healthy living and all the rest of it, because I think that is what she said there is quite good.
Yeah, I mean, it is for locals. I think for, you know, the whole thing for for parking is, the majority of it is the one thing that living locally, that the tourists pay for, you know, and subsidise Cornwall Council with parking things. But when it comes to winter time, when locals have the time and the space and the lack of congestion for visiting the coast, and it should be, you know, that's what we're paying, you know, that we pay our council tax for.
So I'm very happy to take that out and then say, sure, charging Watergate during the winter months would deter people from using the coastal routes and make Watergate far less accessible during the quieter months for locals. It is a valued walking and recreation area for both residents and visitors, and maintaining free winter access is important if we want to support year-round use of our coastline, which would just about fit into that same space. So everybody's happy that we do that. Right, so, what do you want to say about the motorhome parking?
I think it's okay if it is a
maximum number?
A clearly defined area and that it is monitored.
Monitored for what? That they don't
extend? Numbers and where they're parking.
If they say they can have 20, whoever goes down to check whether they've all got their tickets, you need to make sure there is only 20 and not 40. Then
and that they're all parked at the far end.
So let me just write that down.
Right up by the White House almost.
Acceptable for
well, that's the only flat area.
A specified number.
Yeah.
And that number is not monitored.
And it's delimited. Yeah. It's that it has a boundary to it.
In a delimited area.
Yeah. At the rear of the car park.
And would they be charged more as motorhomes than in cars?
You should do.
Oh, they get charged overnight.
Yeah. But they should charge more.
What they're actually saying is that cars and people who are sleeping in the back of the van or have a big van and sleep in those, they're saying they're not acceptable overnight. They shouldn't be there. At least it's not clear what they say. They're sort of.
I am really concerned as to how that's going to be monitored, really.
Yeah, but they are saying that they would make an exception for motorhomes that are self-contained.
Well, they'd have their own toilet and all of that.
Yes. Yeah.
As opposed to a camper without.
I think it's worth saying, and this is what the Pentire Residents Association said, is it's actually not clear, because when you look at the description, it says cars, motorbikes. And then it says you can put motorhomes in there, but does it mean that you can't have camper vans, which aren't self-contained?
But you see, a lot of them they do have toilets in. You have.
Do you have a toilet?
Porta toilets in.
It's large enough.
And you showers and stuff. So I think we started late though, Joe.
Yeah.
I am conscious of that.
Settle for better than.
Yeah.
I think it's worth. Is it worth saying just clarify for non-self-contained, because it's not clear.
Yeah.
They list.
And I think the trouble is it's going to be a value judgment, isn't it? If you're walking round, how do you know if the camper van's got a toilet in or not? I think it's quite hard. So I'm happy to propose.
So with those changes,
yes, with those changes,
what I'll try and do is push them around. Well, I'll push them around tonight if I can.
Yeah,
because we need to submit them tomorrow.
Yeah. So Duncan will submit then. Yeah.
Yep.
So. Yeah.
Are you happy to change that on those lines, or do you want me to do it?
To be honest, I think you need to.
I think yeah. So I'm proposing we're happy that that's prepared. That's sent off. Seconder. Sandy seconded. All those in favour? Brilliant. Thank you. Financial statements. Nothing. No.
Oh, no, can I just raise one other thing from the highways meeting? We also, in a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, we've got to approve which is going to be the scheme that the town council is putting forward for the highways scheme. At the moment, we've got, I haven't seen it in writing from you, Sarah, but I know you've got one.
No, we're going to go in for SIL money for that.
I can give you a quick lowdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't on the agenda, but I can give you a quick lowdown. So deadline was set at 30th of January, date's obviously passed. So we've got a pedestrian crossing on Trevemper Road near the double roundabout, which I believe is what Drew is putting forward. We've also got, basically we've just got what Francis suggested. Yeah. Nobody else has come back. So there's a pedestrian crossing or other traffic management road crossing measures installed on the top of Crantock Street heading to Pentire Park.
That's mine. That will be mine, because I'm going to pick that up as my Cornwall Council one.
Okay.
Crossing across the Tower Road.
Improved pavements and road management at the junction near Trenance School, Mount Wise, Berry Road. Cars drive very badly there. I'm aware of several very close near misses with children. So there's one at Berry Road. Better street layout on Edgecombe Avenue on the turning into the zoo, car park, tennis, Centerpool skate park area. Especially one turning, so that's into the, that's the turn off that's near the, okay. Reduction of speed limit on road from Quintal Downs roundabout to Hendra.
Oh, she means the school, doesn't she? Does she?
Yeah. So who's come out with this list?
These are all from Francis. And a reduction of speed limit, limitation measures outside and inside. This is all good, but I am being asked what further detail people need to provide, and I don't know the answer to that.
I think we need a Teams meeting, and we need to have a look at this list, and we need to hammer this out. So I propose.
That will be for the working party, and I am
for the working party.
But it's not going to be a Teams meeting. Well, it was going to be face to face.
Deadline is 27th of February, so there's a little bit of time to play with.
It needs to be approved with subject to at the next, because the next but one planning meeting is the other side of the deadline.
Yeah. So the 18th.
So we've got to have something workable.
Yes. So it's the next meeting. So we need either a face-to-face meeting or a Teams meeting to hammer this out as to what.
That will be the working party. Now Jess is back.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but I go for your timing and then see if Jessie can make that, and then because we need to invite the Cornwall councillors. Drew, for example, because he's pushing the crossing, or maybe not. I don't know. So that's for the working party.
Yeah. So
if anybody has any suggestions, we might accept them.
In the meantime, I'm being asked what further detail do we need to provide, and I don't know. Or literally.
Who's asking?
Abby has asked on behalf of Drew.
I think we've probably got. It's a description of what you want to do.
Just a description.
You don't have to. Right. It's an expression of interest.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can dig out I've been sent the expression of interest, but I will send them round because that will tell you what. Basically, what you need to say is what's it about, and it's probably about road safety.
Yeah.
They are excluding this time all parking restrictions, so double yellow lines, which people want. no chance. They're not included.
So we need to get this on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to be one final scheme.
Yeah, we have to hammer it out as to which one we're going to go for.
That form to Abigail and say this is what you need to do to fill out. It doesn't have to be this is how you put the bricks down the road or anything like that. It's just the principle of a crossing. I think that's what she got.
Okay. Other correspondence?
No other correspondence.
Items for information only. So the weekly list, there's nothing major on that for noting, I don't think. Notification of going for appeal. So our old friends, which we haven't seen for a while, up at Prow Park, is gone for appeal.
Okay, this is not the application. It's an application for the submission of details to discharge conditions 3, 4 and 5, which were about landscaping.
Yeah.
We were
and
not...
drainage.
We wouldn't have been made aware or even consulted on that application to discharge conditions. So we know it's going on, but we're not involved in it.
I think there was a drainage in there as well from looking at the...
Well, drainage is a nightmare.
Yeah, anyway, so when,
What's actually the appealing? Has Cornwall Council said the conditions, or they just don't want to do
it? Cornwall Council saying that they have not discharged the conditions.
They haven't,
They're saying we don't want to do
and they're saying, I think they're saying we have discharged them.
Oh.
So
they're
we'll
appealing.
just wait and see what the outcome of that is.
And then rather disappointingly is another Notion House going. Two, yes, there's 2 on that, weren't there? Yes. Which I think is disappointing. I mean, there's a steady trickle, but we never seem to get notification of, oh, actually, we've got a new Ocean House in.
We have in the past, they have told us about where they have reinvested money in the improvements that they've made.
But I haven't seen that for a really long time, Duncan. All I'm seeing is that they're getting rid of houses, not that has been shared as to where in Newquay where the development has taken place. All I'm seeing is that they're getting rid of stuff, like those strips of land. We didn't get a say in that, did we? And date of next meeting is the 18th, Wednesday, the 18th of February. So thank you, everybody, for bearing with. We've finished with a minute spare. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
So the next agenda isn't quite so long. She says, hope.